Come on, Annie. Let's go to the movies.
This is the Cinereelists, episode 524. My name is Kyle.
And my name is Zach.
And we're here to talk about movies, movie lists, and movie obsession for the next hour or so. Hey, Zach.
Hey, Kyle. How you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
It's good to see you, man.
It's good to see you, too.
If anyone noticed from the top of the show, James is not here with us today. Did he give us a reason?
I think he is possibly on vacation.
Okay. That sounds like him.
Just didn't feel like joining us.
Sure. Well, that's fine, because while the cat's away, the mouse will play.
To paraphrase James, for any James haters out there, this is your episode.
Is that what he said when you were gone?
Yeah. He's like, so if you're a Kyle hater, listen next week.
It was our lowest listened to episode of all time. The one you were missing.
Turning Red?
No, I'm just kidding. I have no idea the numbers on that.
It actually did okay.
Well, I'm excited for you and me to have a conversation. The last time we did this was when we picked, the best movie of every decade?
Correct. We did the best movie of every decade. Did we start in the 20s?
We did.
And we went all the way until I don't even know. Until the 2010s.
Yeah.
I don't think we're ready to pick the best movie of the 2020s yet.
Right. I think we decided we're going to do something similar for today, right?
Yeah, we have kind of a crazy idea.
It is. And I'm getting right into it because I think it might take a while, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I just think opening tabs is going to take long enough.
Well, I have no tabs, so we're good there.
Oh, you're very lucky.
Do you want to explain the idea?
I do. So this is inspired by our best movie of each decade discussion from a while ago. We're going to choose the best actor and actress from each decade, starting in the 20s all the way up through the 2010s.
We are. And not only that, it's going to be another discussion episode where neither of us have already picked our answers. We are going to come together as a team and decide collectively. So this list will be a creation that we make live on the show.
And I got to say, I did some prep for this. And I was prepping for like the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. I was like, all right, I could find 3 to 5 actors and actresses for every decade. Then I got to the 70s. It got a little bit harder of like, who do I think is the best? And then once I got to the 90s, it was just like, I was just pulling every name. Like, oh, this person's great. Well, this person's great too. And it was hard to narrow down, which I just decided not to do. I figured that's what our job is to do.
Exactly. And because of that, and because of time, at some points we're going to have to be brutal with our cuts.
Yeah.
And at other points, one thing that really marks these discussions, right, is that these are cooperative events. This is not a competitive event. And so we are not going to be trying to steamroll over each other and get our picks in. It's more, what can we agree on?
Right. These are consensus. So We're not going to actually end up with the best. We're going to end up with the most middle.
I don't think that's true. I think this process is going to get us the best.
I think so too.
And what do we mean by the best actor and actress of a decade? I actually have a unique take on it. I wonder if this will color how we do this.
Good, because I didn't really have a criteria going in.
Okay. So we can go by, subjectively who gave the best performances of the decade. And I think by and large, that is going to be the rubric that we decide this from. However, there's this other element that I think would be interesting to take in consideration. And that is who is the best best decade defining actor and actress of that decade. So that's an element to it.
Right. Like when you think of that decade, you're like, oh, of course I think of insert name here.
Exactly. Yes. They are just kind of linked to that decade. Now, I don't want that to limit us. I want to be able to reject that at will in a given decade. I also want to feel the freedom to go with maybe an actor that's not the best like performing actor, like the absolutely best talented actor, but maybe with one that I feel like is a little bit less actor, but absolutely defines the decade. And so overall just kind of gets this aura about them of that decade. Is that making sense at all to you?
Yeah, I definitely think looking at that criteria of who defines the decade has to be considered.
Yeah. Yeah. So this might not be a list where like, you know, Orson Welles and Laurence Olivier like top every decade. You know, it might be a list that Jim Carrey could make it on.
I mean, it could be.
Yeah. So that's
Though,
kind of where
though
I'm coming from.
I will just spoiler alert. I have Orson Welles and Laurence Olivier as my top 2 for the 90s. So prepare for that. I told you, I put everyone on here.
That's insurmountable. Okay, so I guess without further ado, should we get into this?
Let's get into this.
All right. What decade?
I mean, let's start with the 1920s.
All right, 1920s, like we did
Yep.
with movies. You want to do men or women first?
You know, let's do actor, actress for this decade.
Okay.
And then for the 30s, actress, actor, and just kind of jump back and forth.
Okay, love it.
I have a quick question for you.
Yes, sir.
Have we moved past as the society the word actress?
We've moved past the need for it.
Okay.
I think a lot of actresses refer to themselves as actors.
Yeah.
However, I don't think the term is antiquated yet. I think a lot of actresses refer to themselves as actresses still. So
Perfect.
I think it's kind of they can choose whichever term, and I think it's understood that actor could be both male or gender inclusive.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. What I don't like is when I see actor and female actor.
Sure.
Like, no, if you're gonna gender one, you gotta gender them both.
Yeah, I agree with that. Okay, so for the 20s for actors, when in this podcast, when we say actor, we're going to be referring to the men, just for clarity's sake. Is
Correct,
that okay?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think there are just three clear options here.
I probably agree with you. So let's hear your 3 clear options.
It's going to be Charlie Chaplin, Buster Keaton, and Harold Lloyd.
You got it. That's the exact same 3 I have.
They are the stars of the silent world, for sure. Now, Harold Lloyd at the time was the most popular. He was by far the most popular.
Yes, he has Safety Last is probably his most famous. That's the guy hanging off the clock.
Exactly. Yeah, and he's got The Freshman, that football movie, a ton of others. He was pretty prolific during this time.
He was in a Ben-Hur, not a Griffiths Ben-Hur, but
like an
a
early
Ben-Hur.
silent Ben-Hur.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that, so I can't speak to his performance.
And he's not even top billed, so I'm not even sure where he was in Ben-Hur.
But I would say, despite the fact that he was most popular then, I think he's third billed now when people look back.
I agree. I think if we're gonna cut one for right now, let's cut Harold Lloyd.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that leaves us with Charlie Chaplin and Buster Keaton.
And Buster Keaton.
Yeah.
Now, right now, one of these jumps out at me more.
Okay.
And that's because when I think of the 1920s, I think of Buster Keaton more than I do Chaplin.
That's because movies, Chaplin movies like City Lights and Modern Times, Great Dictator, those came out in the 30s and 40s.
Exactly.
So
where with the 30s, you have The Kid and The Gold Rush, which are famous movies of his, but I would say those are his 2 biggest.
Whereas Buster Keaton's got, a Navigator, General, or Hospitality, Sherlock Jr., a ton.
Steamboat Bill Jr.
Yeah, The Cameraman.
Yep, you're right. Like, we could list, I would say pretty much all his best known movies are from the 20s.
I say let's do Buster Keaton.
I agree.
Okay.
Wow, that was fast and easy. I'm sure they'll all be this easy.
I think they're destined to be. Okay, let's pick the best actress.
All right.
Who are you thinking?
So I've got 2 in mind, and I'll admit these are not household names for me. I had to look at movies from the 20s and see who jumped out, but they are Catherine Maguire and Brigitte Helm.
Okay. Remind me of who Catherine Maguire is. Brigitte Helm is from Metropolis, right?
Brigitte Helm is Metropolis.
Yeah.
And that's actually the only movie I've seen her in.
Okay.
But I've also recognized her I recognize the movie L'Argent, another popular movie from the
L'Argent,
20s.
yeah, I've seen that.
Catherine Maguire was in 2 Buster Keaton movies, Sherlock Jr. and The Navigator.
I gotcha. Okay,
Mhm.
cool. To add to that, I want to add a couple people. Lillian
Go for it.
Gish, who again was super popular at the time.
Even for the 20, okay, I associate her more with the previous decade.
Oh, I always thought of her as a silent movie star, but
Well, yeah,
but like definitely in the 20s. She did The Enemy
okay.
in 1927. She was in that Ben-Hur. Also Clara Bow. She was in Wings. You know, that was the first Oscar-winning Best Picture, and she was
Mhm,
just super famous. Now,
mhm.
I'm not super familiar with these actresses. You know, there's Mary Pickford as well.
Yep.
Um, and I don't recall any of their individual performances except for Bridget Helm in Metropolis.
I would say that's the one that stands out the most. I do remember Catherine Maguire being pretty funny in, The Navigator,
Okay.
just as a foil to Buster Keaton, but I can't place her in Sherlock Jr. So if I was to go with one, I would have to say Brigitte Helm just from Metropolis.
I think I'm okay with that without knowing much more. I do want to point out the fact that Gloria Swanson, who plays in Sunset Boulevard as this like aging actress,
Okay.
in real life, she was a huge star in the 20s. And so, you know, she played that kind of autobiographically. I don't think we should go with Gloria Swanson because I don't think either of us have seen any of her performances.
Yeah, that's not one. I mean, when I think of her, I think of Sunset Boulevard.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Which was not from then, from the 60s, right? Or
50s.
50s. Okay.
Yep.
So do we want to do Bridget Helm?
Let's do Bridget Helm. Yep.
All right, guys. It's Buster Keaton and Bridget Helm.
Nice. Bringing in the 20s.
All right. The 30s, let's start with actresses.
Okay.
The two that I'm kind of looking at are Joan Crawford and Greta Garbo.
Oh, interesting. Those aren't the two I have. So
Okay.
talk to me about Joan Crawford and Greta Garbo.
So Joan Crawford was kind of getting her start now, and she just was instantly really good at what she did. She was in Grand Hotel and a bunch of other movies. But I would vote for Greta Garbo
Okay.
because she was crazy famous at the time. I've seen 3 of her films and she's good in all of them as like a very specific kind of acting. Like she plays a very cold, emotionless woman. Um, but yeah, Matahari, Grand Hotel, and Enochka are the 3 in the 30s that I kind of like circled around.
So I haven't seen any of those movies he's listed.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I think that's why I did not gravitate to either of those two.
Sure. But you've heard of Greta Garbo.
I've heard of Greta Garbo, yes. Yep.
Okay. Who do you have?
So the two that jumped out at me were Olivia de Havilland and Katharine Hepburn.
Sure.
Olivia de
I think
Havilland.
of Katharine Hepburn more as the 40s, but maybe you can convince me.
I'll see what I can do. I'll see if I can
Okay.
convince you. Right? She's 30s, 40s, and 50s, but I kind of put her in 30s for
Okay.
this list over other actresses.
Okay.
So Olivia de Havilland, the two that jump out are The Adventures of Robin Hood and Gone with the Wind.
For sure. Huge.
She's also in Captain Blood with Errol Flynn, Midsummer's Night Dream. And then Katharine Hepburn, her big one. I mean, maybe the original rom-com, Bringing Up Baby.
Yeah. Yeah, which is that's a really funny film. That's the one with the Jaguar
The
leopard,
Jaguar.
right? Yeah.
Yep. It's kind of a road movie.
Mm-hmm.
But she was also in Holiday with Cary Grant. She was in a maybe the first adaptation of Little Women, as well as Stage Door.
Okay.
So I've only seen Bring Up Baby, but I've heard of those other 3 movies. So that's why she's jumped out to me.
See, I think of her in the 40s because you have like Philadelphia Story, Adam's Rib. She's in more of these kind of like rom-com things that I think of Katharine Hepburn from.
I totally buy that.
But you know, I'm really intrigued by Olivia de Havilland. I think that might be a really good pick.
Yeah, I mean, I just think she was in 2 of the most popular movies of the 30s.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure she played Maid Marian in Robin Hood.
She did, and she won Best Actress, the Oscar for To Each His Own from 1946.
Oh, okay.
But she won 2 Oscars in her lifetime. Olivia de Havilland. Who did she play in Gone with the Wind?
I'm looking right now. She's not Vivian Lee.
Right. Was she like
She
the sister?
she played Melanie Hamilton. I'm not sure who that is. She's third build,
Third build.
but I honestly can't remember. It's been so long since I see Gone with the Wind,
Gotcha.
and I don't think I really knew who she was at the time.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think I could be happy with Katharine Hepburn. Olivia de Havilland, I love Robin Hood and she's great as Maid Marian. And that's definitely a name that I associate with like old Hollywood. And then Greta Garbo is another one that I think is a great choice. So
Give me two of those.
Oh man, I don't know. The thing is, if we don't pick Katharine Hepburn for the 40s, I want her for the 30s. But if we're going to pick her for the 40s, then I don't want her for the 30s. I don't want to double up on anyone.
Oh, I do have her. Okay. Looking at the 40s, looking ahead, I think there are stronger 40s than Catherine McCall. Sorry, Catherine McCall. than
Katharine Hepburn?
Yes.
You think there's stronger people that you like to go with?
I think in the 40s there are stronger people. Yes.
Okay.
Just if we take in that decade defining factor.
Okay.
So if we want to go Katharine Hepburn on the 30s.
Yeah, I mean, Bringing Up Baby is huge. What else was she doing then?
Let's see. She was also doing Adam's Rib, Woman of the Year, State of the Union, The Keeper of the Flame with Spencer Tracy, The Undercurrent with Robert Taylor, another Spencer Tracy movie, another Spencer Tracy movie. A lot of Spencer Tracy movies.
Okay, she was big into Spencer Tracy.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm fine with going Katharine Hepburn. As long she should get on there. She's really kind of crossing over that decade.
Now, I don't want us to pick a famous actor just so they're on the list.
I agree.
Because there's definitely going to be great actors who are not going to make this list.
Okay.
So
in that case, I really want to pull for Greta Garbo. I know you haven't seen her, but she's a good actress and she's very much in the 30s.
Then I say let's go Greta Garbo.
Okay. Or I'd be very happy with Olivia. I like Olivia de Havilland's acting style better.
You do,
if that makes sense.
I mean, if we're going consensus, then just because I've seen Olivia de Havilland movies.
And did you like her performance?
I did in Robin Hood, just because I knew that was her.
Yeah.
I can't tell you anything about her role in Gone with the Wind.
All right, we're going Olivia de Havilland.
Okay.
Plus, it's a nice name.
It rolls off the tongue.
Yeah. And that's how we decide things. If the name works.
Which one sounds the nicest to pronounce?
Okay. Let's talk actor.
So I got 3 that jump out at me.
Who do you got?
I got Charlie Chaplin again.
Oh, yeah.
Because now we're talking, though the only ones he has from the 30s are Modern Times and City Lights. I thought he had more.
I don't think that's enough.
But those are 2 huge ones.
For sure. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I have Clark Gable, Gone with the Wind, It Happened One Night, Mutiny on the Bounty. Those are just 3 big ones. Possessed. He did a ton in the 30s. A ton.
I think he might be impossible to beat, actually.
He might be. One more I want to bring out, though, is Errol Flynn.
Sure. Adventures of Robin Hood, Captain Blood.
Dodge City, also with Katharine Hepburn.
Yeah. Man, I think Clark Gable is the front runner for sure because all those movies are so strong. All those performances are really strong. But can I throw in a different type of acting style altogether?
Yes, please.
James Cagney.
Oh.
Public Enemy.
Gangster.
Footlight Parade. Angels with Dirty Faces. Yeah, all his gangster stuff. Now, like Yankee Doodle Dandy and some of those came later in the 40s, but
yeah,
what do you think? What's that?
Oh, I see.
They came in the 40s, yeah.
40s, yeah.
What do you think? Do you like his acting style?
So I've only seen, is Public Enemy the only one I've seen?
I don't know. You should see all those I listed. They're great.
I think the only Cagney movie I've seen from the 30s is none of them.
Okay.
How have I not seen the Cagney movie from the 30s?
You've seen White Heat then.
Was that the 40s?
But yeah, it's 40s.
Okay, yeah. That's the one. And Yankee Doodle Dandy.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's a different acting style. I think Errol Flynn I could take off this list.
Right. Honestly, I think anything besides Clark Gable is insanity.
Okay.
I think he's very much so famous in this era for
Yep.
those movies. All his performances are great. He's a really good actor.
I say let's go with Clark Gable.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay.
Man, we are plowing through this, mostly because these are the easy ones.
These are the easy ones. Just wait until we get to the time when we were alive.
Sure. All right. Should we start with actor for the 40s?
40s. What do you got for me?
There's 3
Okay.
that I really think we should pay attention to. Although Orson Welles is on here, but I don't think we should pick him.
I'm fine with that.
There's Jimmy Stewart, Cary Grant, and Humphrey Bogart.
I have the exact same 3.
Those are your 3?
Yep.
Okay. So Jimmy Stewart, he goes into the 50s as well. So we have to pay attention to that. But in the 40s, he's got Shop Around the Corner, Philadelphia Story, It's a Wonderful Life, Rope,
Which are all classic movies.
Yes, with
And
really
good
great performances.
too.
Yeah,
Not just
for
classics.
Sure.
Yep.
Cary Grant is in His Girl Friday, Philadelphia Story, Arsenic and Old Lace, which is a movie I don't like, but he's good in it. Notorious and Bishop's Wife.
Mm-hmm.
And then Bogart, Maltese, he plays his character, but Maltese Falcon, Casablanca, Treasure of the Sierra Madre, Big Sleep, Have and Have Not.
Key Largo, Dark Passage.
Yeah.
I'm going to be completely honest. You're going to have to talk me out of Bogart if he's not your number 1.
Okay, well, Jimmy Stewart is such a pleasure to watch acting.
He is. I think Jimmy Stewart has another chance in the 50s.
Okay. Yeah, I think he has a shot in the 50s.
Right. Not that's the reason why we should, I don't want to Oscar this and be like, well, now they deserve it. But I do like Jimmy Stewart. When I think 40s, I love Humphrey Bogart. Like, I really like his acting style. I think he's a good actor. He gets parodied a lot.
But in Casablanca and Treasure of Sierra Madre, those are different characters. I both of those are great performances.
So you're agreeing with me?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, right. No, his like the Humphrey Bogart style gets parodied, but he does not play the same character every movie.
Right.
He has range for sure. And then I mean, when I think of 1940s and I look at these movies, these are all 40s classics, all starring Humphrey Bogart.
But don't discount Cary Grant, right? His Girl Friday is awesome. He's so funny in that. And Notorious is this thriller, and he's great in that too.
I do like Notorious. I do like Philadelphia Story. His Girl Friday, that rat-a-tat back and forth, it was too much for me.
You didn't like it?
I didn't like it.
All right. Well, since I like Bogey too, let's go Humphrey Bogart.
Okay. I know I kind of cornered you on that one, but
I mean, how do you argue with Humphrey Bogart?
You don't.
Yeah, I stay away from that. All right, from the 40s, who do you have for actresses?
So I have the return of Katharine Hepburn.
Okay, yep.
But I also have Lauren Bacall. You can't talk Humphrey Bogart without talking Lauren Bacall.
She's in a lot of Bogart movies.
And then Ingrid Bergman.
Oh, that's a great choice.
Because she pops up. I mean, so a lot of these actresses popped up in movies we just talked about.
Yeah. Yeah, because she's in Casablanca.
And Notorious. Also Spellbound and Gaslight.
Oh, she's great in Gaslight.
I've never seen Gaslight, but I really want to. And I heard it's great.
Gaslight truly has one of the most shocking endings of any movie I've ever seen.
I just added to my watch list. It was on my watch list.
What?
It now is. I have no idea why it wasn't there.
Sure. For me, Ingrid Bergman's the one to beat.
Yeah. Well, okay, let's talk Katharine Hepburn because we wanted to push her a decade.
Mm-hmm.
So she's got Philadelphia Story with Cary Grant and James Stewart. Adam's Rib, Spencer Tracy again.
Yeah.
Woman of the Year, Spencer Tracy. State of the Union, Spencer Tracy. Keeper of the Flame, Spencer Tracy. Without Love, Spencer Tracy. The Seagrass, Spencer Tracy. Like, How do we not bring up Spencer Tracy in this decade?
Yeah. Well, I haven't seen a lot of Spencer Tracy, so that's part of it.
Yeah, I agree.
Um, but yeah, I how have we not brought up Spencer Tracy? Katharine Hepburn is so good.
She has this effortlessness to her acting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's really great. But Ingrid Bergman she acts so hard. She is a force of nature, I think.
Can I is Lauren Bacall just like a distant third for you?
She is, just because I don't particularly care for her acting style.
Mm-hmm.
It's very melodramatic, I would say.
Yeah, I think she does a nice job. Well, I mean, you look at her movies, and they're almost all Bogart movies. I mean, it was Bogart Bacall.
Yeah.
I think they did 4 movies together. And she does a great job of playing off of Bogart.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't disassociate her acting from his performances too, because they're such a pair together.
Sure.
Whereas
Yeah.
Bogart, I can associate him with other people too.
Right. My money would be on Ingrid Bergman. Where's your money?
Even I've seen the least of these 3 actresses is Ingrid Bergman, but one's Casablanca and one's Notorious, which are both great movies.
Can
And
I throw just a random stick in here?
Go for it.
Did you consider Barbara Stanwyck?
What is she? I know that name. What's she in?
Double Indemnity, which is a favorite of yours.
Mm-hmm.
That came out in 44, and then The Lady Eve in 41.
I did consider her, but I've only seen her in Double Indemnity.
You haven't seen The Lady Eve?
The Lady Eve, no.
Oh, you have to see The Lady Eve. It's good.
Okay. Let me look at that.
It's with Henry Fonda, who we didn't even mention for actors in the 40s, but he...
Well, so, I mean, this is what's going to happen when we get to, like, the 90s and the 2000s. Is, like, if, I don't know, my grandparents were making this list, they would probably have tons of people from the 40s.
Mm-hmm.
But, for us, we know, like, the key 3 or 4.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I have not seen The Lady Eve with Henry Fonda. No.
Okay. Cool. I say Ingrid Bergman. What do you say?
I'm okay with Ingrid Bergman.
Let's do it.
Sorry, Catherine. That was your...
Man.
We pushed her to the 40s and then just...
If she concentrated in one decade, she would have gotten it. But she's spread out.
Is someone keeping track? Are you keeping track of who we're picking? Okay,
yeah,
good. Because I'm going to forget so fast.
All right, the 50s. It's getting difficult now. Let's start with the women.
Who do you have?
I circled around 3 women.
Okay.
Deborah Kerr. She was in From Here to Eternity, The King and I, An Affair to Remember. Marilyn Monroe, which very much I think of the 50s with Marilyn Monroe. I mean, she was in all sorts of things. Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, How to Marry a Millionaire, The 7-Year Itch, and then Some Like It Hot in 1959. And then my third is Elizabeth Taylor.
Oh, interesting. We only have one crossover.
Okay. So Elizabeth Taylor, Quo Vadis and Cat in the Hot Tin Roof. She didn't do Cleopatra till later.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of a mark against her being the actress of this decade of the 50s.
So can we throw out Deborah Kerr? Because I know nothing about her.
Sure.
I recognize these movies, but I feel like I just can't get behind that one.
Okay. No problem. So
all right.
I have Marilyn Monroe and Elizabeth Taylor. Who do you got?
So I have Marilyn Monroe also. I also want to bring in Grace Kelly. Rear Window, Dial M for Murder.
Yeah.
To Catch a Thief, High Noon.
Yeah.
High Society.
Correct me if I'm wrong. All of her movies are in the 50s, right? She became a princess and stopped acting in the mid 50s.
Yes. If you go to the 60s, she has a couple credits in the 60s, but
Gotcha.
the 50s were really her thing. Yeah, she is the Princess of Monaco.
Okay.
Yep. So you gotta give the royalty their due. And then Kim Novak, who I don't know if I actually like as an actress, but
well, then why is she on this list, man?
Because I was thinking of who defines, or I don't know if I like Kim Novak more than Grace Kelly. If I was to put
She's
them
from
head to head.
Vertigo, right?
She's from Vertigo. That's the only one I really know her from. But she's great in Vertigo. She was also in why is the title not popping up? The Man with the Golden Arm.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
she's out for me.
Okay, that's fine. I would take Grace Kelly over Kim Novak.
To me, it's between Marilyn Monroe and Grace Kelly. Marilyn Monroe, not because she's the best actress on this list. She's absolutely not. But she very much defines the 50s for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I would strongly recommend we go with Grace Kelly.
I feel better about Grace Kelly just because I think she had more famous leading roles than Marilyn Monroe. I mean, Marilyn Monroe's second most famous one is All About Eve, which she makes like a debut cameo in.
Every performance of Grace Kelly I've seen has been great.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, let's go Grace Kelly.
Love it, Grace Kelly.
Okay, for the 50s, for actor, I have a few. Can I rattle them off and then you tell me which ones you're interested in?
Yes, go for it.
You got Marlon Brando, Streetcar Named Desire, On the Waterfront, others, Guys and Dolls. Okay. John Wayne.
Okay.
Rio Grande, The Quiet Man, The Searchers, Rio Bravo, the Hondo movies, Charlton Heston.
Wow, okay, all right.
10 Commandments, Touch of Evil, Ben-Hur, right?
Mm-hmm.
These are super big films. Jimmy Stewart's going to show up again.
Yep.
This is the one that he has his best chance at, I think. He's got Harvey, Rear Window, The Man Who Knew Too Much, Vertigo, Anatomy of a Murder, Greatest Show on Earth. I mean, just a ton. Then when you think about what the 50s are, I think of James Dean.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have a big filmography, East of Eden, Rebel Without a Cause, but very much I think of him when I think of the 50s, and he's a good actor.
Yeah.
Then two more, okay? Gene Kelly.
Okay.
Who I don't actually like that much as an actor, but everyone else does. So I'm gonna accept. If you love him, if you don't like him, we'll throw him out. But American in Paris, Singing in the Rain, Brigadoon. I mean, Gene Kelly was very much huge in the 50s. And the last one is Toshiro Mifune.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, he benefited from being in a lot of Kurosawa films, but he's in Hidden Fortress in the 50s, Throne of Blood, Seven Samurai, Rashomon. But he's also in a lot of good 60s movies. So there's that. So which of those stand out to you, and who did I miss?
So James Stewart for sure stands out to me.
Okay.
So does Toshiro Mifune. Yep. Here's two that I considered that I want you to consider also.
Okay.
William Holden, Sunset Boulevard, Stalag 17, The Bridge Over the River Kwai, Sabrina.
Yeah.
And then I wasn't sure about this one, but I thought I'd throw it out there. Kirk Douglas.
Oh, Kirk Douglas. Okay.
Yeah.
He's never an actor that I've really cared that much about.
So I kind of feel that same way about John Wayne. I like John Wayne movies. I don't know if I like John Wayne as an actor.
Sure.
I
he's
think
just so 50s, right?
He's so 50s. And if we were doing the defining actor of the 50s, it'd be a much better story. But we're talking best, and I got to throw out John Wayne.
Okay.
So right now, how do you feel about Kirk Douglas and William Holden?
I don't, all the films that William Holden is in are mostly ensemble kind of pieces that he's not the standout to me in any of them.
Okay, fair.
So I'm comfortable getting rid of both of them unless you really want to fight for one.
Nope. I just wanted to throw those names out there.
I think this should be between Brando, Stewart, and Mifune, unless you really like James Dean or Gene Kelly.
Talking about Brando, because I did not consider him for this decade. And maybe that's an oversight on my part.
The three ones that I think his performances are great in are Streetcar Named Desire, On the Waterfront, and Guys and Dolls.
And I've seen two of those.
Okay.
Yeah. They are great. Are they better than Vertigo, Rear Window, Anatomy of a Murder, and Harvey?
I mean, Jimmy Stewart's great in all of those.
He is.
He's got a higher output.
It's kind of a killer decade for Stewart.
Yeah. Well, and what do you think about Heston?
I don't like Heston.
You don't like Heston?
I think, Like Heston has a style. I don't care for that style.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So
Okay, so Jimmy Stewart or Mifune?
Jamie Stewart or Mifune, Marlon Brando.
Mifune has a very exaggerated acting style. I
He
mean,
does.
he's the um he's the James Cagney of Japan.
of samurai films.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
I connect a lot more with Jimmy Stewart.
I think this is gotta be Stewart's decade.
All right.
Yeah.
Instead of hemming and hawing, let's go Jimmy Stewart.
Let's go. It's just gonna get harder.
If we were going to pick the defining one of the decade, would you go James Dean or John Wayne?
I like James Dean more as an actor, but I feel like John Wayne had a bigger output from the 50s.
And even like outside of acting, he had a huge role in like Hollywood, right? He was behind, the blackballing people and stuff like that.
For better or worse.
Yeah. Okay, 60s.
All right. I have 4 actors, and I want you
Great.
to hear me out on them.
I will.
Okay.
I promise to listen.
I want active listening ears, please. Okay. So Steve McQueen is my first one. Great Escape, Bullet, Magnificent Seven, Thomas Crown Affair, Sam Pebbles, personal favorite of mine. Yep. Then you got Sidney Poitier, our first person of color to finally make the list.
Oh yeah, In the Heat of the Night.
Yep. Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, To Sir with Love.
Yeah.
Yep.
Great.
Clint Eastwood. Now, I mean, if we're talking just defining all 3 of those Sergio Leone movies, Good, Bad, Ugly, Fistful of Dollars, Few Dollars More, plus Where Eagles Dare, Paint Your Wagon, Hang 'em High. I mean, if you're talking defining the 60s, he might be the one.
No, because yes, that's true. He's in that trilogy, but I think of him as 70s, like Dirty Harry and Outlaw Josie Wales.
True.
Birdman of Alcatraz.
And does he define
Escape from Alcatraz.
Escape from Alcatraz.
Yeah.
And does he define the 60s more than Paul Newman, who was in Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid, Cool Hand Luke, The Hustler, HUD, Torn Curtain?
Paul Newman's gonna be hard to beat.
I agree. Anything you want to either cut or add?
You know what? I love Steve McQueen and Paul Newman. Fantastic. I think Sidney Poitier beats them both because his acting is so strong in those films.
I agree. Yes. I mean, In the Heat of the Night's a top 100 movie for me.
Yeah, he just comes with such gravitas when he is in those films. I want to mention Gregory Peck.
Oh, Atticus Finch. Yeah.
Yep. To Kill a Mockingbird.
Is he also 12 Angry Men?
No. That's Henry Fonda. But Heather West was one. Cape Fear, Guns of Navarone. Also Peter O'Toole, like we mentioned before, Lawrence of Arabia, Beckett, Lion in Winter. That's this decade.
Yeah.
But let me go 2 more Japanese actors, right?
Okay.
So I'm going to say Mifune again, although we've already picked him. But wait till you hear what he's...
We didn't pick him.
We picked Jimmy Stewart.
Yeah.
Wait till you see what his output is in the 60s.
Okay, go for it.
The Bad Sleep Well, Yojimbo, Sanjuro, High and Low, Redbeard. So he's very active there.
Yeah.
And Tatsuya Nakade was in Yojimbo, Human Condition, Sanjuro, Harikiri, High and Low, etc.
Oh, is he the samurai in Harikiri?
Yeah.
Okay. I would, if I was to choose, not that we have to choose one of them, but Toshiro Mifune stands out more to me.
Okay.
As his individual roles in those movies, with the exception of Harikiri for the other guy.
For sure.
Oh, okay. So are we down to Mifune versus Is it Mifune, Newman, or Poitier?
I think Steve McQueen's in there too.
Okay.
Because Steve McQueen and Paul Newman really are the 60s to me.
Yeah.
But of all these actors, the performance I like the best is Sidney Poitier.
I think for me, it's down to Poitier or Newman.
Okay. Which of those Newman movies is your favorite performance?
It's Cool Hand Luke.
Yeah.
I love Cool Hand Luke.
He's great in that.
He is as cool as you can be.
Yeah, for sure. And The Hustler's so good too.
The Hustler's really good, and Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid I saw, as a teenager, and that movie has always stuck with me. It's just the effortlessness of that movie.
Okay, and what about Sidney Poitier? Which performance you like the best of his?
So I've only seen In the Heat of the Night.
Oh, you
of these
haven't seen
movies.
Guess Who's Coming to Dinner?
I have
or
not
To
seen
Sir
Guess
with
Who's
Love?
Coming or To Sir with Love.
What are you doing?
There's so many movies to watch. I
That's
just had to
true.
drive my car for 3 hours, okay? I could have watched 2 Poitier movies during that time, but no. Someone just decided to join a podcast and review movies.
All right. So for that reason alone, do you want to go Paul Newman, or can Sidney Poitier do it on just the strength alone of In the Heat of the Night?
Oh, you got to pick. I can't do it. I can't do it.
Well, Sidney Poitier, I'm going with him. He's awesome.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so hard. All right. I'm doing it. Sidney Poitier.
Okay. Actress. I have 2 that I think are worth talking about.
Go for it.
Julie Andrews.
Mm-hmm.
She storms onto the scene with Mary Poppins.
Yeah.
Then has Sound of Music the next year. The only other one I've seen is Thoroughly Modern Millie. But she's iconic in Mary Poppins and Sound of Music.
Correct. Yep.
But instead, I think we should go with Audrey Hepburn.
Those are 2 of my 3 picks.
Okay. Audrey Hepburn, Breakfast at Tiffany's, Charade, which I just watched this past year, My Fair Lady, How to Steal a Million, and Wait Until Dark, which is I think my favorite horror film or thriller.
Yeah, I mean, maybe horror for your standards.
Who do you have?
So I have Julie Andrews and Audrey Hepburn.
Okay.
Can I throw in one more?
Yes.
Catherine Deneuve of The Umbrellas of Cherbourg, Repulsion, and Belle de Jour, and The Young Girls of Rochefort.
She's so good in Belle de Jour.
Yeah, so actually, I've not seen that one, but I know it's a list movie, and that poster's everywhere, all over my.
Yeah, well, she's fantastic in Belle de Jour.
Mm-hmm.
And Umbrellas of Cherbourg she's awesome in that too.
That if you do not like musicals, you should still watch Umbrellas of Cherbourg. I think every person I know who's watched it is like, I don't like musicals, have been blown away by that movie.
Yeah.
Man, so I had Julie Andrews too. If we were to go defining, right, she exploded on that scene. But Audrey Hepburn, just Breakfast at Tiffany's alone and My Fair Lady.
Yeah.
How do you get past those 2?
And I loved her in Charade. And I love her in Wait Until Dark.
I have not seen Charade, but it's another one that I want to see, and it's with Cary Grant also.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah. Oh man,
I think any one of these women would be a great choice.
I'm okay cutting Julie Andrews. I love Mary Poppins. I love Julie Andrews, but I think of the 3, she shows the least range.
Yeah.
Not that she's a bad actress, just of the 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really want to do Audrey Hepburn.
Okay. I will let you take that one.
Okay.
I want to do that one too. It's on my list also. Not a problem.
All right. 70s. Is it getting hard yet?
When we get to the actors, it's getting hard. I think 70s actress, we're in the clear for one more, but then 70s actor, how long have we taken so far?
Well, we're only 40 minutes in.
40 minutes in. I predict we're gonna be another hour and a half to get to the end of this. I think we are a third of the way through this discussion.
We've already done 5 decades.
Yeah, but we did the 5 easy ones.
Okay. Well, let's jump right into it.
Okay.
For the 1970s, I think there's a clear winner.
Okay, give me your clear winner.
Diane Keaton.
So she's my number 1 seed.
She's in The Godfather.
Mm-hmm.
The Godfather Part 2. Annie Hall. Manhattan. And she's great in all of them.
Could I throw out? Give any other names, or is that your number 1?
I have Ellen Burstyn, who's in Last Picture Show.
Mm-hmm.
Sally Field in Norma Ray. Barbara Streisand in Star Is Born and Funny Lady. That's all I had.
I also have Faye Dunaway, Chinatown Network, and 3 Days of the Condor, The Tower Inferno. I have Jane Fonda, Klute, The China Syndrome. And I have Meryl Streep, Deer Hunter, Manhattan, Kramer versus Kramer.
Yeah. Faye Dunaway is a great choice. I don't think I can help at all with Jane Fonda.
I think we can cut Jane Fonda.
I'm weak on my Jane Fonda films.
That's totally fine. I mean, you're right. Keaton's hard. If I was to put one against Keaton, I mean, Meryl Streep's going to have some more opportunities on this list. I think for me, I think it's down to Faye Dunaway and Diane Keaton, both for acting and for defining the decade.
Okay, Faye Dunaway is fantastic in Network.
Mm-hmm.
She's great in Chinatown. Was Bonnie and Clyde in the 70s? No, that was 60s.
That was 60s, yeah.
Okay. So what else? What else she's got?
3 Days the Condor.
I never saw it.
That's a Robert Redford spy thriller.
How is she?
I mean, she's good. She's playing a character who falls in love with her captor, so
okay,
she plays that part well.
Okay.
And then The Tower Inferno, which I remember for like having Steve McQueen and O.J. Simpson in it. I don't remember her specifically being in it, but I was young when I saw it too.
Gotcha.
But I think Tower Inferno is a classic 70s disaster movie.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I think it's between Faye Dunaway and Diane Keaton. I think you have to make this choice.
See, here's the problem with Diane Keaton is I don't like Manhattan.
The movie or her performance in it?
I don't remember her performance. I remember Woody Allen, and I remember the teenage girl.
Okay. Sure.
And that overshadowed whatever Keaton was doing in that movie for me.
Okay. Well, how'd you like her in Annie Hall?
I mean, she's great in Annie Hall, and she's obviously great in The Godfather. So she has 3 greats and one I personally don't like. Oh, she's in Sleeper too. I like Sleeper.
Yeah.
Oh man, versus Faye Dunaway, who's got. I think if we're looking just at great performances, I gotta go with Keaton. I agree.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Keaton it is.
This is a tough. I'm in my own little pool where like Paul Newman and Faye Dunaway get to hang out.
All right. Actors for the 70s. What do you got?
All right. I think I've got like 7.
Okay.
And it only gets harder from here.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll start with the clear favorite, Al Pacino.
Yeah, I mean, Godfather movies, Serpico.
Dog Day Afternoon.
Yep.
So can't say no to that. Maybe a bit of a dark horse, Robert Duvall.
Oh yeah, he's never like the forefront of something, but he's great in everything.
Yeah, he's Godfather, Apocalypse Now, The Conversation, Network, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, MASH, THX 1138. So like his top 8 movies of the 70s are the most popular movies of the 70s.
Yeah, and he's great in everything.
Yeah. To stick kind of in that vein, Robert De Niro.
Of course.
Yeah, Godfather Part 2,
Taxi Driver,
Deer Hunter, Mean Streets.
Yeah.
Yep. Gene Hackman, kind of a little different than everyone else in this list.
Okay.
So he has The Conversation. Apparently he's in Young Frankenstein. I don't remember when that is. French Connection, Superman.
Sure.
Yep. This might be a bit of a reach. Robert Redford.
Okay.
He's in 3 Days of Condor, All the President's Men, The Sting, Jeremiah Johnson, The Great Gatsby.
Yep.
And then I got 2. I got one obvious and one who might be can kind of sneak in and steal the whole thing.
Okay.
So Jack Nicholson.
Oh yeah, Chinatown, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yep. 5 Easy Pieces.
Yeah.
The Passenger. I love the poster for The Last Detail. Never seen that movie, but I really want to.
I've got to look up that poster.
It's great. But while you're looking it up, here is who could steal it from everyone. John Cazale.
So John Cazale's tough because he has a very small filmography, right?
He was in 5 movies.
And all of his every movie he's been in has been amazing, right?
Yeah.
And he does good performance in all of them. I don't think he's a better actor than Al Pacino or Robert De Niro.
I agree. I feel like he is almost the face of the 70s, though.
He's got a
Like,
unique face.
Well, he got a unique face, and he's in Godfather, Dog Day Afternoon, Deer Hunter, and The Conversation. Who all these other actors are also in those movies.
Right. Yeah.
Like, so.
Yeah. That's a good choice. As far as like the best filmography, he wins hands down.
Hands down, yeah.
You didn't mention Burt Reynolds, who
yeah.
was probably the most popular of all these people back in the 70s.
What was he doing in the 70s?
Deliverance, Longest Yard. He was Smokey and the Bandit.
Okay.
Also, if we're talking about who defines the decade, John Travolta has to be mentioned.
Yeah.
Just Grease and Saturday Night Fever alone, those two back to back. For me, it comes down to Pacino, De Niro, and Nicholson.
I agree. Yeah, Gene Hackman, I can make a strong case for, but I don't know if he's I don't know I don't know if he has as many great movies as those other guys do.
And when I think of like iconic acting performances, a Gene Hackman performance, individual like scene doesn't come to my mind.
Okay.
But a Pacino scene does, and a De Niro scene does, and a Jack Nicholson scene does.
Yeah. So I don't know about you. De Niro's going to pop up again for me later in this list.
He is?
Oh yeah. You seem surprised.
What decade?
I've got De Niro in the 80s and the 90s.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. This is the only decade I'm considering him.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make a case for him in the 80s and the 90s.
Okay. Sounds
Okay.
good. Good luck.
Good luck. I think you're overlooking some movies from the 80s and 90s. But I just with Godfather, Godfather 2, Dog Day Afternoon, and Serpico. I've never seen Panic in Needle Park, but I heard that's also a famous one. I think this is Al Pacino's to lose.
I got you. So for me, the best performance between Al Pacino and Robert De Niro is Taxi Driver with Robert De Niro.
Okay.
I think that's the best acting performance on this list.
Yeah.
But Pacino in between The Godfather and The Godfather Part 2, that's a really great acting arc. And then Dog Day Afternoon is fantastic. Jack Nicholson, I think he's great in all the films for the 70s. But a lot of what I think of Jack Nicholson is from other decades. You know, where he's the Joker, where he, you know.
The Shining. And
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The Shining is later. So I think it's between Pacino and De Niro.
Man, I'm looking at De Niro again. Taxi Driver, Godfather 2, Deer Hunter, and Mean Streets. I love Mean Streets.
Yeah, and he's good in Mean Streets.
He's really good in Mean Streets.
That's 73. Okay, so it's Pacino and De Niro. We're not the first people to pit them against each other.
But we get to make a decision, though.
Yeah.
From looking at this again, I'm leaning De Niro.
You going De Niro?
I think De Niro shows more range amongst his top 4 movies. Partially because Pacino is playing the same character twice. So that's not, that's not his fault. But like Serpico doesn't stand out to me. The movie stands out to me, but his performance is not one where I go to, oh, here's one of the best performances ever given.
Well, you know what? Anyone that's going to tell you Robert De Niro doesn't deserve to be best actor of the 70s, they got to make a really compelling argument.
And yeah, and I can't, like, if we're going 1-to-1, so Godfather Part 2, they cancel each other out, right?
Yeah. Well,
Taxi Driver versus Godfather. I mean, which one's better? They cancel each other out, right?
Yeah.
Deer Hunter, Dog Day Afternoon, do they cancel each other out?
I like Pacino better in Dog Day Afternoon.
Okay. Mean Streets versus Serpico.
Mean Streets.
Mean Streets, clear winner.
Yeah. All right,
And
let's go De Niro.
Not just for the movie, but for the De Niro performance versus Pacino performance.
Yeah. Let's go De Niro.
let's go De Niro.
Yeah.
What I love about that Mean Streets performance is De Niro is not playing a tough guy like he starts it, like he ends up doing. Like he's playing kind of a loser. Like this guy comes across as the super cool party guy, and then you
Mhm.
realize that he does not have it together,
Yeah.
and he is kind of dragging everyone else down. And like to see De Niro play a loser is so compelling.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. Okay, for 80s. Do you want to go first or me go first?
Let's have you go first.
Okay. First, I'm going to say some of the people that I kind of circled around because I thought they defined the 80s.
Okay,
Okay. They're not necessarily the best actors, but I thought they absolutely defined the 80s for me.
go
Okay.
for it.
So those are people like Patrick Swayze,
Yep.
Michael J. Fox, Eddie Murphy has so many good movies in the 80s. Dustin Hoffman, Bruce Willis, Sylvester Stallone. You got like half the Rockies and your Rambos,
hmm
your Tango and Cashes. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Who obviously is not the best actor on this list, but he's got his Terminator movies, his Predator movies, his Conan movies. Twins is in the 80s. Matthew Broderick, right? He goes from War Games all the way to Ferris Bueller, and then I think Glory is still in the 80s too.
Yeah, that is. Yep.
And that's a good performance in Glory. Michael Douglas, he's in those kind of like adult thriller like Fatal Attraction. He's Wall Street, right?
hmm
Gordon Gekko, Romancing the Stone. Kurt Russell, Escape from New York, The Thing, Big Trouble in Little China. Those are like that's absolutely what I think of when I think of the 80s. John Cusack, right? 16 Candles, Better Off Dead, Stand By Me, Say Anything.
You're doing what I'm gonna do to the 90s.
Great, great, great.
Yeah. Yep.
But a lot of these people I don't think are the best actors. They're just what define the 80s for me.
Okay.
I'm also going to throw in Bill Murray, right?
hmm
Caddyshack, Ghostbusters, Scrooged, Stripes. Mel Gibson's doing the Lethal Weapon films and the Mad Max films. But the the two that I really want to kind of circle are Tom Cruise
Oh, interesting. Okay.
because he's got Risky Business, Top Gun, Color of Money, Rain Man, and Born on the 4th of July,
Okay.
amongst others. And then the one that I really think is going to win this is Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford is a strong contender. I mean, if we look at Cary Grant, what are we doing there? Look at Harrison Ford in the 80s, Empire Strikes Back, Blade Runner, Return of the Jedi, all three Indiana Jones movies, Witness, and Working Girl. Like,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah.
Um, who's your other one?
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise. Okay, I did not consider Tom Cruise for this decade. For this specific list.
Well, because he works in a lot of decades from now on.
He does, yeah. I mean, Rain Man, he's good in. I like Top Gun. The Outsiders, he was good in. I have not seen Risky Business, Color Money, Born on the 4th of July, Legend, or Cocktail.
Okay. He's great in
So,
Color of Money. He's great in Risky Business.
yeah. Okay. I will consider Tom Cruise.
Okay. Who'd I
Um,
miss?
so Robert De Niro, I'm bringing him back up. I'm surprised you didn't consider him because he's got Raging Bull, King of Comedy, Brazil, Once Upon a Time in America, The Untouchables, and Midnight Run, all from the 80s.
Well, there's a great reason for that.
And what's that?
I didn't like Raging Bull.
Okay.
I let me go through each movie in the 80s and say how I feel about these
Okay.
performances. Didn't like Raging Bull. King Kahanabi, he's great. Once Upon a Time in America, he's great. It's way too long.
It's like 3.5 hours long. Yeah.
Yeah. Brazil, I had to watch like 7 times in a week for a paper I wrote in college.
Oh, no.
And that kind of ruined that movie for me. And then I haven't seen Midnight Run.
Okay. So you're kind of off De Niro for the 80s.
I am.
Okay, that's fine. We'll take him off.
But
Yep.
he's great in comedy. Great.
Jack Nicholson, The Shining, Batman, Broadcast News, Witches of Eastwick.
Mm-hmm.
Great performances. I don't know if they eclipse Harrison Ford.
Right. Yeah. The Shining and Batman alone is great pairing. And Broadcast. I don't remember him for Broadcast News.
I have not seen it, but he's in it. Okay.
Okay.
Robin Williams.
Oh, yeah. Good Morning Vietnam. Dead Poets Society.
Baron Munchausen, and your favorite Popeye.
Yeah. Should he win because of Popeye?
I mean, I think he and Shelley Duvall should just take we should just move on because of Popeye. Greatest
I
movie
like
of the
Robin
80s.
Williams better for the 90s.
Okay. All right. That's fair. And then one more I want to bring up, which I don't think we considered at all. Kevin Kline.
Kevin Kline.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. What's he putting out in this decade?
In the 80s, Fish Called Wanda. Hilarious. Sophie's Choice. I mean,
hilarious.
Oh, it's so fun. When she has to choose, I was losing it. The Big Chill. And then what I think is the best, like, you want to see young character actors movie from the 80s, Silverado. I mean, that's a Western. It's got Kevin Kline. It's got young Kevin Costner. It's got Danny Glover's in it. Like, is all these faces who have not quite broken yet are all in Silverado.
Okay. I haven't seen Silverado.
Okay.
I mean, that's great. But if Kevin Kline is going against Harrison Ford, I mean,
okay. So you basically need to sell me. If your pick is Tom Cruise, you need to sell me Tom Cruise over Harrison Ford.
Well, I also want to go Harrison Ford over Tom Cruise. Good. I mean, Bill Murray, right, is awesome. It's just if this list was only who defines this decade, Bill Murray would still have a hard time against Harrison Ford. Like, there's just a lot of good acting going on here, but I think Harrison Ford's going to get it from me.
Yeah, I think people kind of make fun of Harrison Ford's acting now, but especially in the 80s, he was great. He was not just playing Harrison Ford.
Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. This is not like, he's not like quoting Shakespeare up there, right? But for the characters he's playing, he made them so iconic because of how well he became those characters.
I can't believe he did 3 Indiana Jones movies in one decade.
Yeah.
I was convinced that The Last Crusade was 90, but nope, you got all 3 in one. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Actresses.
Yes.
I have 3.
Who do you got?
I have Michelle Pfeiffer. She was in Scarface, The Witches of Eastwick, Dangerous Liaisons, and of course, Grease 2.
Okay.
I have not Julie Andrews. That's supposed to be someone else. So I've got Sigourney Weaver.
Oh, Ghostbusters and Aliens.
Ghostbusters and Aliens, as well as Working Girl.
Okay.
And then I have Glenn Close, whose tab opened incorrectly. So let me tell you in just a moment. She was in Dangerous Liaisons.
Okay.
She was also in what's the one with the bunny rabbit?
With the bunny rabbit?
Oh, Fatal Attraction, The Big Chill, The Natural, and The World According to Garp.
Here's the problem: is I've only seen The Natural of that list. I haven't seen her like famous kind of thrillers.
And I actually have not seen any of those movies.
Okay.
But I just have heard of all of them.
Sure.
Yeah.
Did you consider Carrie Fisher?
Well, besides Star Wars.
That's really what I know her from. She was in some other films too, but I don't remember her performances. One person that absolutely defines the 80s for me is Molly Ringwald.
Oh, yeah.
She's in all those movies like 16 Candles, Breakfast Club, Pretty in Pink, that kind of thing.
And then, I mean, if we're doing that, I could throw Meg Ryan in there also.
Meg Ryan, I put more in the 90s. What's Meg Ryan doing in the 80s?
When Harry Met Sally, Top Gun, and Inner Space.
Heard of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good call. Good call.
I guess for me, probably the number one Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah, she's great. She's great. Yeah, I could go that. I kind of like Molly Ringwald just because she's so 80s to me. But Sigourney Weaver was Alien in the 70s or the 80s?
Alien was 79, so it was right before.
Okay, so it's Aliens, which is in the 80s.
Yep.
And then the two Ghostbusters. Was she doing anything else besides those two?
She was also in Working Girl.
Okay, I haven't seen that.
Gorillas of the Mist.
Oh, Gorillas of the Mist.
Yeah,
Let's go.
Jane Goodall.
Let's do Sigourney Weaver. Can we do that?
I think we can do that. Yeah.
Okay, I would never have guessed. I mean, we're skipping over Meryl Streep for Sophie's Choice and Out of Africa.
Yeah, it's so she has those two, but I was looking at Sigourney Weaver's like 5.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. And I like her better in Aliens than Alien. She's also in Aliens 3. Isn't that in the 80s or is that in the 90s?
No, that was the 90s.
Okay.
What's your favorite one? You don't even know what year that was in?
No. All right, let's do 90s.
All right. These are going to get hard for me, and I'm also going to warn you, I started running out of time to make links for all these actors, so I may be stretching my words a little bit longer. So I may call upon you to shout out some movies as we go here.
Okay.
I got names, though.
Okay.
Who do you have for actresses in the 90s?
Okay, well, Winona Ryder. She goes all the way from Edward Scissorhands to Reality Bites and Little Women. Sandra Bullock, right? She's very 90s for me. Speed and The Net and rom-coms like While You Were Sleeping. Jodie Foster is a personal favorite of mine from the 90s.
Yeah.
Silence of the Lambs, Maverick, Contact. I never saw Nell, but I remember at the time everyone talking about how good she was in Nell. Sharon Stone from Total Recall, Casino. I think she was in Sphere.
She was in Sphere.
Okay.
A movie I liked until I read the book.
The book is so good.
The book is so much better than the movie.
Yeah. Meg Ryan, Sleepless in Seattle, City of Angels, You've Got Mail. That's the decade for her, man. That, I guess the 80s too, but
yeah.
Meg Ryan was great in all of those things. It's just perfectly cast. Susan Sarandon, Thelma and Louise, Little Women, Dead Man Walking. But maybe the two, so maybe with Jodie Foster, the other two that I'd want to look at are Julia Roberts and Gwyneth Paltrow. Those are probably my top 3.
I have Julia Roberts.
Okay.
I have Sharon Stone, but I could cut Sharon Stone. Because Total Recall and Basic Instinct are different kind of movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Demi Moore.
Yeah. Ghost.
So I'll throw it out there. A Few Good Men, Ghost, Hunchback of Notre Dame, obviously Beavis and Butthead Do America, G.I. Jane.
Sure.
Can't forget those.
Sure.
And you said Sandra Bullock already?
Yeah, Sandra Bullock.
I agree. Sandra Bullock is a great actress, and she totally defies the 90s. I just don't know if she has the consistent body of work of like Jodie Foster or Julia Roberts.
Right.
I mean, she's got Speed is a fun movie. Time to Kill is great, but then she also has
performances than
Yeah, like she's also doing Demolition Man and Practical Magic and Forces of Nature. So definitely just the face of the 90s for sure.
Okay.
But maybe choice of work was going to cut her for me.
Okay.
All right, so we got Jodie Foster.
Jodie Foster
is probably my number 1 pick.
Nice.
Julia Roberts, and then Gwyneth Paltrow. I did not consider Gwyneth Paltrow.
Can I tell you some of her movies from the 90s?
Please.
Okay. So here's some of the lighthearted ones, and then we'll get into the more serious acting. She's in Hook. She's in Shakespeare in Love. She's in Dogma. Okay.
She's in Dogma?
Yeah. Then she's in Emma. Fantastic in Emma. Sliding Doors. Talented Mr. Ripley. 7. Hard 8. You haven't seen it yet, but Great Expectations. She's just in so many good films and always with a solid performance.
Okay, I can cut Julia Roberts.
Whoa, don't go so fast, my
Oh,
friend.
okay.
You're cutting Pretty Woman?
Well, who's your number 3 of those 3? Who's your number 3?
I don't know. It's for me, it's Jodie Foster, Gwyneth Paltrow, and Julie Roberts. They're the ones to beat.
All right. Jodie Foster is my number 1 just because of Contact, Silence of the Lambs, and Maverick.
Yeah. She's
Right
great in all
there.
those.
Great in all of those. When I think of
Yeah.
90s, she comes to my mind first.
Okay.
Gwyneth Paltrow. The problem with Gwyneth Paltrow is, maybe with the exception of Shakespeare in Love, of the movies I've seen, she doesn't lead any of those movies.
Right. Well, Emma, she does, but you haven't seen it.
I haven't seen Emma.
Sliding Doors, she does, but you haven't seen it.
Yeah. Like, I don't remember her in Hook whatsoever.
Oh, she plays Wendy. Well, she plays the yeah.
Oh,
the
the older.
younger.
Okay. But obviously Seven, she's, head over shoulders the best part of that movie.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
And,
Let's cut Gwyneth. Let's cut Gwyneth
really?
and Julia, and let's just go Jodie.
Okay. All right. Let's do it.
Jodie's great.
Okay. The 90s.
Actors.
This was the hardest decade for me to get down to this is a hard decade for me to get actors narrowed down. So I highlighted a couple, and I want to kind of go through them with you, and then you can say, oh, I agree, I disagree. If you want to take some off or add some on, please do.
Sure.
Okay?
Sure.
All right. So the first we have to go with is I'm starting with Robert De Niro, just because you were saying Robert De Niro was not on the list for you for the 90s.
He was not, yeah.
All right. Goodfellas, Heat, Jackie Brown, Casino, Cape Fear, Awakenings, Ronin, Analyze This, Wag the Dog, Great Expectations. Those are just the good movies he was in, and he was in a ton of other things in the 90s too.
That's true.
Okay, you are not blown away by that list.
A lot of those performances felt like rehashes to me. I mean, they're good, but he just was, I feel like, stuck in a rut of who he is.
Mm-hmm.
And then he starts getting into Analyze This, and I didn't like those performances as much.
Fair. Okay. Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis for the 90s.
Bruce Willis for the 90s. Pulp Fiction, The Sixth Sense, 12 Monkeys, The Fifth Element, Armageddon, Die Hard 2 and 3, The Player, The Last Boy Scout, Beavis and Butthead Do America.
I mean, so Bruce Willis is good, but I would go Brad Pitt over Bruce Willis.
Oh, yeah. So Brad Pitt's definitely one of my options.
Yeah.
I'm just giving you go ahead.
But I would say Bruce Willis is not going to win this because Brad Pitt's in the realm. He was in 12 Monkeys and better in 12 Monkeys. And he's in Fight Club, and what? Interview with a Vampire, Legends of the Fall, 7.
Yeah, Being John Malkovich, True Romance, Thelma and Louise.
Yeah.
7 Years in Tibet, River Runs Through It.
Well, he's barely in Thelma and Louise.
But I mean, that was a star-making movie for him right there.
Yeah. He was just the man with the cowboy hat.
Yeah, well, the shirtless man with the cowboy hat. I want to bring up an actor you brought up last decade that I see more of this decade, and that's Tom Cruise.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, A Few Good Men.
Yeah, Eyes Wide Shut, Magnolia, Mission Impossible, Interview with a Vampire, Jerry Maguire, The Firm, Days of Thunder, Far and Away. I mean, I listed all his movies from the 90s.
When Jerry Maguire came out, that was all anything on TV talked about was Jerry Maguire.
And Show Me the Money.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's fantastic in Magnolia and A Few Good Men.
Yes, he is. Another one, Samuel L. Jackson.
Samuel Jackson. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, he got huge in the 90s. Okay, so here's a movie he started the 90s with. Goodfellas. Right? He's a minor character. Here's his last movie of the 90s. Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
Yeah, but is that a great acting performance?
No, but along the way, he got Jurassic Park, he got Pulp Fiction, Jackie Brown, True Romance, Hard Eights, Die Hard with a Vengeance, Out of Sight, Time to Kill, Deep Blue Sea.
He's good in Time to Kill.
Yeah. I mean, I say he's good in all those movies. And the fact that he went from a tiny role in Goodfellas to being in the next Star Wars movie in less than a decade is pretty incredible.
That's true. I do have him in the 2000s. When he's in Black Snake Moan and Unbreakable and all that. But you make a compelling case for the 90s.
I have one more though, and I feel like we're burying the lead with this one. And so before we get to the big one, anyone else you want to throw out there?
Okay, Robin Williams.
Okay.
He's the genie in Aladdin. He's the therapist in Good Will Hunting.
Mm-hmm. Oh, but you don't like therapist movies like Analyze This.
Somehow he pulls it. He manages to pull it off.
Okay.
His performance in Good Will Hunting alone deserves to be on this list.
Yeah.
He's also putting out, fun movies like Jumanji and Flubber.
Fun movies. Kids movies. Yeah.
Which means may come. So Robin Williams. Mel Gibson's kind of on fire right now.
Yep, he is.
He's Man Without a Face. Not a lot of people saw, but it's such good acting. He's also in Maverick, Braveheart, Ransom, Conspiracy Theory. Payback is a movie I know you like.
Oh yeah.
Don't discount Denzel Washington.
He's on my short list for this decade.
Malcolm X, Hurricane Philadelphia, Pelican Brief. I mean, more.
What about Matt Damon?
What about Matt Damon?
Tell me about him.
Yeah, Matt Damon was, Good Will Hunting, but Talented Mr. Ripley. What else was he in?
Saving Private Ryan.
Yep, for sure. He's such a small role, though.
Yeah, but he's Private Ryan.
That's true. Jim Carrey.
So if we're talking like the face of the 90s, for sure, Jim Carrey.
Here's the thing. Yes, he is not a serious performer in the 90s until you get to like Truman Show.
Yeah.
But as far as range, right? He can play Ace Ventura and Truman. He can play the Riddler in Batman Forever and Andy Kaufman in Man on the Moon.
I mean, he's my favorite Riddler.
You also have Dumb and Dumber and The Mask. Comedy's hard.
Yeah.
And he made so many hits. Many hits. Some people that I thought about, Kevin Costner, Will Smith, Johnny Depp, I think will come up in other decades. And then
Ethan Hawke is someone who I considered.
He's great. He's perennially great. I think the one that you skipped is Tom Hanks. Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, like, I'm going to go Tom Hanks backwards popularity order here. You tell me when I say a bad movie, okay?
Okay. All right.
Joe versus the Volcano.
Good movie.
That Thing You Do.
Yeah, great movie.
A League of Their Own.
Great.
Philadelphia.
Great.
Sleepless in Seattle.
Great.
You've Got Mail.
Great.
Apollo 13.
Great.
Green Mile.
Good.
Toy Story 2.
Great.
Saving Private Ryan.
Amazing.
Toy Story.
Great.
And Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Here's the thing. He's also in Radio Flyer.
Oh, and Bonfire of the Vanities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the thing is not only those movies good, but his performance.
Yes.
In Apollo 13, his performance in Forrest Gump, his performance in Philadelphia, his performance in... Remember Saving Private Ryan, him in that movie? Oh my goodness.
He's incredible.
Yeah. So here's the problem. Tom Cruise, Denzel, Brad Pitt, they all are great. But Tom Hanks really does win the 90s, I think.
I mean, he both wins the 90s and he's the face of the 90s. I would say almost more than Jordan. Okay. He's one of the faces of the 90s.
Sure. Yeah. Whatever happened to that guy?
Tom Hanks?
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
He's still making movies, I think.
All right. We only have 2 more decades to go.
Really?
We're flying.
The 90s went... Okay, I think they're still going to get harder, though. I feel like we knew going in that Tom Hanks was the pick. We just had to talk about it beforehand. I think we're going to do a lot more fighting over these next 4.
All right. Well, fight is on. Let's start with the 2000s. Let's start with actors.
Yep. Who do you got?
All right. Here's people that I want to mention, but are not going to be in my short list. Okay.
Okay.
Gary Oldman is not in my short list.
Okay.
You know, he's a great actor, but his performances I don't think are the best of the decade. Orlando Bloom and Daniel Radcliffe, I think, are both very much 2000 actors, but their performances aren't like anything special. It's just they screamed the 2000s to me. So with Christian Bale, he gives really great performances in everything he does, right? Dark Knight and
Yeah.
The Machinist and Rescue Dawn of the Prestige, but he's not going to make my list just because I feel like I have stronger choices. Johnny Depp, he's very much the face of the 90s or the 2000s, I think, because of, the Pirates movies and all the stuff he's in. But any decade you include Charlie and the Chocolate Factory's performance, he's not going to make top billing for me.
And I think Johnny Depp is sliding as we get into the 2000s.
Yeah, sure. Here's the people that I just want to throw out, and you can ask me why if you don't think they deserve to be on this list.
Go for it.
Ian McKellen.
I didn't consider him, but I hear you.
The X-Men movies and the Lord of the Rings movies. Great performances in both. Will Ferrell.
Interesting.
Because really, Will Ferrell's a genius at what he does. His Mugatu in Zoolander is genius. And then he's also in Stranger Than Fiction, which is a super good serious performance. Anchorman, Step Brothers, Elf. He's awesome in Elf. George Clooney is very much at the top of his game here.
Agreed.
He's Danny Ocean in all the Ocean's films, as well as like in Good Night and Good Luck and Confessions of a Dangerous Mind and Solaris and Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Brad Pitt also in the Ocean's 11 movies, but also, the Assassination of Jesse James by the Coward Robert Ford and Benjamin Button, and he's awesome in Inglourious. I did put Samuel L. Jackson on my short list in the 2000s.
Yeah, talking about him in the 2000s.
He's Mr. Glass in Unbreakable. He's Shaft. He's Snakes on a Plane. He's Black Snake Moan. He's really good in Black Snake Moan. He's voice acting on The Incredibles. Will Smith, he's in a lot of things, but his acting in Pursuit of Happiness is really awesome. He's a ton of fun in Hitch. He's really good in I Am Legend. He's doing some of the, sequels from his previous stuff. Let's see. Hugh Jackman's awesome in Prestige. And he's got a lot of X-Men stuff going on. He's great in The Fountain. Tom Cruise, he's got really good performances in Mission Impossible 3. I liked his end credit scene in Tropic Thunder. Right.
I think Tom Cruise has his moments in the 2000s, but he also has Mission Impossible 2.
That's true.
He's very short and not very short. He is very short. Yeah. He has a very small role in Tropic Thunder.
Yeah. My last two, Heath Ledger. Right. Yeah. He goes from The Patriot to Knight's Tale, Brokeback Mountain, and Dark Knight's Joker. And then Leonardo DiCaprio, Gangs of New York, Blood Diamond, The Departed, and Inception.
So I'm surprised that Christian Bale is not towards the top of your list.
He's not.
Okay. Is that you just don't? Do you not like what he's doing, or because the movies you mentioned, obviously he was in, 2 Batman movies came out that year in that decade: American Psycho, The Prestige, The Machinist, as well as Equilibrium and The New Worlds, and some other ones you mentioned too. He was close to the top of my list.
So, yeah, obviously The Dark Knight is awesome, right? But if we're talking about performances, my favorite performance in The Dark Knight is Heath Ledger's performance, not Christian Bale's performance.
Okay.
So when we're talking about acting, at least for that movie, it's out of contention as a check for Christian Bale. It's a check for Heath Ledger.
What, can't it be for both?
I don't like his voice in Dark Knight. He does a silly Batman voice.
He was he was coached to do that voice.
Sure,
that was not a choice of his.
In The Prestige, he's my second favorite performance in that. I like Hugh Jackman's performance better.
Okay.
In The Machinist, he's too skinny. in I haven't seen Terminator Salvation. You know,
Uh,
like
he's fine in it.
you know, so that's
blew up
why
over
he's
nothing.
not towards the top of my list for those kind of reasons.
He's always a bridesmaid.
Exactly.
Yeah. Um. Okay, so here are two you did not mention because I agree with a lot of the ones that you brought up, and I think we can narrow this down. But I just want to bring
Okay.
up two quick names.
Okay.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
He's always great, but what did he do a ton in the 2000s?
Well, he only did 4 movies. There'll Be Blood and Gangs in New York are two
Yeah.
of them, which is 2 incredible performances. 9, which I haven't seen, and then The Ballad of Jack and Rose, which is a movie that I saw and I liked, but I don't know if that's a standout performance from him. But There'll Be Blood and Gangs in New York are incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And then another one, and I think this might be his last chance at this list, is Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Okay.
And I mean, he is not the lead in any of these movies, but I think, well, maybe one of them. He is remembered for all these movies. Punch Drunk Love, Almost Famous, Synecdoche, New York, Mission Impossible 3, which I think is your favorite Mission Impossible movie.
No, it's
No,
not.
okay. Red Dragon, 25th Hour, Doubt, Capote, and then Before the Devil Knows You're Dead, which I just saw. Charlie Wilson's War, also. Cold Mountain. I mean,
Yeah.
he's got an incredible list for the 2000s.
He is solid in all of those, but he has such small roles in many of those compared to some of these other actors we're talking about.
Mhm.
Okay, that was
Okay.
good. I really like the inclusion of Daniel Day-Lewis because
Okay.
for me personally, There Will Be Blood is the best acting performance of this decade. Like in that single performance in that
Yep.
single movie.
I think we have to keep George Clooney in contention.
Sure, because he both was the face of that decade in a lot of ways, and he gave a lot of range.
He gave us a lot. I mean, he was giving us Michael Clayton all the way to, I don't know, Ocean's 11.
Yeah.
Spy Kids.
Mm-hmm.
Syriana. I don't even mention Syriana was in that year.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Too.
And Matt Damon. I mean, he was giving us the Ocean's movies, Departed, and Bourne Identity, all 3 Bourne movies, as well as Syriana.
Yeah, good point.
I think Brad Pitt we have to keep also because if anyone else is the face of the 2000s, if it's not George Clooney, it's Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
Yeah, Inglorious, the Ocean's movies again, Benjamin Button, Snatch, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Burn After Reading, Babel, Troy, Jesse James, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
I could cut Samuel L. Jackson. For me, he was more 90s. He's still a good actor.
Okay.
But I'm looking at the movies that he's in, and the first one where he is like a part of the movie, a major part, if you just look at like rank by popularity, is Star Wars Episode 3, his 5th movie. Like,
Okay.
I don't remember him in Inglorious at all. He pops up in Iron Man at the end. He's a voice in Incredibles, a good voice. And then Kill Bill Volume 2, I think he's like a blues musician at the church or something like that.
Sure.
So I wouldn't say he doesn't stand out to me in a lot of these movies from the 2000s. We could drop Clive Owen. I had Clive Owen on my list, but he doesn't compare to some of the other people. We're gonna cut Christian Bale. That's fine. Heath Ledger is an interesting one. Right, because Heath Ledger started the decade with The Patriot, and then closed it out with The Dark Knight, and wasn't in a ton, but made a huge leap over those 8 years.
Yeah.
So Philip Seymour Hoffman, we're cutting.
I think so.
Okay. And then Leonardo DiCaprio, Catch Me If You Can, The Departed, Gangs in New York, Aviator, Blood Diamond, Revolutionary Road, The Beach, Body of Lies. Ooh, this is a tough one. I feel like we haven't narrowed down to 6 people.
Yeah. I think for me, the 4 that are standing out. Okay.
Okay.
Tell me if you like these 4.
Okay.
George Clooney, Brad Pitt, Matt Damon, and Heath Ledger.
And we're going to cut Daniel Day-Lewis and Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh, sorry. And Daniel Day-Lewis.
Okay. So we're cutting Leonardo DiCaprio.
Well, how do you feel about that? We don't have to cut him yet if you're not ready.
Yeah, I think Leonardo DiCaprio has another chance at the
He
next
does
decade.
have another chance, yeah.
So I'm fine with that.
I didn't have Matt Damon listed, but as I go through his movies right now,
Yeah.
he ends the decade with The Informant, which he's super good in, and it's super like not the type of role he would normally played up to that point. Then all the Bourne movies,
Mm-hmm.
which are a specific type of movie, but I liked him. Then The Departed, which he's my favorite part of that. I think he's super funny.
Yeah.
But like serious and like devious, right? And what else has he got in here? Jerry, which I love that movie. I know
love
you
Jerry.
don't,
Yep.
but I really like that movie.
I mean, he's got Syriana. He's got The Good Shepherd. Finding Forrester, Bagger Vance, Dogma.
So I'm interested by Matt Damon. I don't know what to do about Brad Pitt and George Clooney. Which of those two would you rather keep?
I could push Brad Pitt a decade.
Okay.
I think Brad Pitt, again, I was like, Leonardo DiCaprio has a chance next decade, but I think Brad Pitt has a chance next decade also.
Okay.
So we can push Brad Pitt.
Okay.
Oh, man. Okay, so Leo we've pushed. Brad Pitt we've pushed.
So we got Clooney, Daniel Day-Lewis, Matt Damon, and Heath Ledger.
Daniel Day-Lewis, although he gives the best performance of the decade, I don't know. I guess now I'm now going to bring in the what face do I associate with the decade factor?
Yeah.
Because I can no longer choose performances.
Yeah.
And maybe it's because he just has such a good job of changing his face every time he's in a movie. I don't know if I think Daniel Day-Lewis is the face of the 2000s.
I just think that his output wasn't enough.
Yeah, I agree.
I although he has the best single performance of the whole decade.
Mm-hmm.
Other people give consistently interesting performances as well. Like George Clooney gives good performances as well.
I'm kind of down to George Clooney and Matt Damon.
Okay, Heath Ledger's out for you.
It's yeah, just because Heath Ledger grew a ton as an actor in this decade.
Okay.
Like you're giving me Knight's Tale, which is fine. You're also giving me Dark Knight. So he has higher highs but lower lows.
Yeah.
I think maybe Clooney and Matt Damon are more consistent. Maybe this is the wrong way of going about it. Maybe we shouldn't be trying to find that. But this is supposed to be consensus though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. If you had to choose between Damon and Clooney, who would you go with?
I'm kind of leaning Clooney.
Clooney? Cloons?
Just because Michael Clayton and Good Night, Good Luck are incredible movies. Up in the Air I liked. Oceans 11, 12, 13 are very in quality. But Oh Brother, Fantastic Mr. Fox. I mean, even with just his voice, it's you know that's Clooney in that movie. Syriana I really like. And with Damon was having more fun in the 2000s. He was also doing like what's Stuck on You and
yeah, he did Stuck on You, which was not a good performance.
No. I don't like Jerry, but that's fine. I understand why you do. Man, I'm leaning Clooney. What are you leaning?
That's tough, man. I feel part of me worries that George Clooney is too much of a light pick.
A light pick?
He's so charismatic. It's hard to know if he's just manipulating us.
What about? I mean, Damon's pretty charismatic.
Yeah, but he's so serious in the Bourne movies.
he is. He is.
I'm trying to think if we're sleeping on anyone right now. Brad Pitt's really good this decade.
He is. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking back at Brad Pitt for the 2000s. Inglorious. Oh, I listed these already.
Yeah.
I don't like Troy.
Okay.
I'm neutral on Spy Game and Babel and Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Spy Game's great, but I like Robert Redford better.
Oh, it's Spy Game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. Brad Pitt and George Clooney have very similar input. They cross over a lot in this decade with
Yeah.
the Ocean's movies, Burn After Reading.
All right. Man, this is tough. I trust your judge. If you want to go George Clooney, I will allow it. Otherwise, I would want to either. Otherwise, I'd want to bring back. I'd want to give it to Daniel Day Lewis, just because he's got my favorite performance.
Oh man.
So you can do George Clooney if you want, or Daniel Day Lewis, or Matt Damon.
I'm giving it to George Clooney.
Okay.
Because I think George Clooney also proved he's a good actor in the 2000s.
Okay. Nice.
I think this is when, he showed us, he's not just a pretty face.
Yeah. Okay. George Clooney gets it. For the women,
Lay it on me.
I like Meryl Streep, Keira Knightley, Sandra Bullock, and Angelina Jolie.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we should choose between Kate Blanchett, Nicole Kidman, and Kate Winslet.
I had Kate Blanchett and Kate Winslet on my list.
Okay.
Talk to me about Nicole Kidman. I also had Scarlett Johansson on my list.
Okay. Yeah, she was doing things like early stuff, right? Like Ghost World.
Yeah, she was doing what's the one with Bill Murray?
Lost in Translation.
Lost in Translation. She was doing Ghost World. What else was she doing in the 2000s? Oh, The Prestige. Vicky Cristina Barcelona, Match Point, Man Who Wasn't There. Other Boleyn Girl, Scoop, Girl with the Pearl Earring. She was doing a lot.
Yeah, she's good in a lot of that.
Yeah, she's doing a lot.
Okay, Nicole Kidman. I know you don't like Moulin Rouge, but I do like her performance in Moulin Rouge.
Okay.
Have you seen Dogville yet?
I have not seen Dogville. I've never seen a Lars von Trier movie.
Okay. Well, it's certainly a Lars von Trier movie. It's brutal to watch, but her performance is incredible. She's really great in Cold Mountain. And then she's got other roles like The Others and The Hours, which I haven't seen, but I know people talk highly of.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm okay dropping her if you haven't seen or don't like the movies that I was talking up.
Yeah, I would say I don't think this is her best decade.
And she's not going to win the list if you're not on board.
No. I think Nicole Kidman. I need to cut. I like her, but I don't like this decade from her.
Gotcha. Yeah. So between Kate Blanchett and Kate Winslet, who do you like better?
Ooh, remind me what they're in those years.
So Kate Blanchett is obviously in the Lord of the Rings films.
Mm-hmm.
She played Elizabeth, right?
Yep.
She's in Benjamin Button. Babel, the Good German, Aviator.
Oh, she was Katharine Hepburn in The Aviator.
Yeah.
And
now
then
Kate Winslet, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Yeah, I mean, that right there is huge.
Yeah. And Revolutionary Road was a really strong performance.
Mm-hmm. And The Reader I liked. Yeah. Okay, so your three were Kate Winslet, Kate Blanchett, and Nicole Kidman, who I cut.
Yeah.
Could I bring in... So I brought in Scarlett Johansson.
Yep.
Could I bring in two more?
Yes.
Julia Roberts.
Okay, what's she putting out in the 2000s?
Ocean's 11, Ocean's 12, Closer, Aaron Brockovich, Charlie Wilson's War.
Ooh, Closer and Aaron Brockovich are great performances.
Yeah. Yep. And then you kind of glossed over her, but Meryl Streep.
Yeah, heard of her.
Yeah. So for the 2000s, Fantastic Mr. Fox, Devil Wears Prada, Mamma Mia, Adaptation.
Yeah.
Julie and Julia, and she's the best part of that movie.
Yeah. Doubt.
The Hours, Doubt, The Manchurian Candidate, Stuck on You Again. Can't forget that one.
Was she in that?
Apparently, yes.
Wow. I had no idea.
So, man, she had a great run too. I would maybe cut. I like Kate Blanchett. I would maybe cut her.
Okay.
Just because. Was she giving any starring roles besides Elizabeth?
Starring roles? No.
No, she was doing a lot of supporting work.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would cut her. What's your take on Scarlett Johansson?
You made a strong case for her. I
Okay.
could see Scarlett Johansson taking it.
Okay.
That's a good range. You know, she's really growing up as an actress during this time.
She
You
has
know,
a chance next decade too.
I don't know if any of those performances individually blew me away.
I agree. Yeah.
It's kind of from there that I'm leaning towards Kate Winslet to win this, just because Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, she played a totally different character than Revolutionary Road, and both of those were incredible performances. Meryl Streep was certainly in the movies you talked about, and really great in Devil's Wear Prada and Doubt. You know, I haven't seen The Hours. I haven't seen Julie and Julia. You know, but she's not going to win it on the strength of Mamma Mia or her performance in Adaptation.
Yeah.
So I just don't know about Meryl Streep, but feel free to convince me.
If you haven't seen The Hours, you need to not prioritize. You should see that movie.
Okay, sure, I'm down.
And then Julia Roberts versus Kate Winslet.
Julia Roberts, man, Erin Brockovich is a really great performance. And what was her other one?
Her other one was that's Kate Winslet. Let's see. Oh, I closed the tab. I can't tell you.
Okay, well, I will tell you then.
Okay, thank you.
The Ocean's movies.
Charlie Wilson's War, The Ocean's.
Oh, Closer, Mona Lisa Smile.
Yep.
Yeah, Closer's good, although she's not my favorite performance in Closer. I like Natalie Portman's better.
Fair.
So I think I'd still want Kate Winslet over Julia Roberts, but those are good performances for her. She's a good actress.
All right, so
between Meryl Streep, Julia Roberts, and Kate Winslet, who are you least inclined to pick?
Meryl Streep, Julia Roberts. I would take off Julia Roberts.
Okay.
Yep.
Between Meryl Streep and Kate Winslet, are you leaning Meryl Streep?
I've only seen. I don't know if I've seen Revolutionary Road. If I have, I do not remember it. I'm gonna be completely honest.
It's her and Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah. I have seen The Reader, which I liked a lot, and obviously Eternal Sunshine is an incredible movie. I could give this to Kate Winslet.
Okay.
Yeah. I think this is Meryl Streep's last chance at the decade. But I think Kate Winslet's going a little bit more serious.
I think if this was the list of the 10 best actresses of all time,
yeah,
Meryl Streep would be on it.
Yes.
Because her body of work is so spread out, I think she might not necessarily make it on this list.
Yeah. I thought this decade or the 70s was her greatest shot.
Which is so funny because those are so far apart.
They are. But I mean, that just goes to show her body of work and how much she's put in. But I mean, like, we haven't put Brando on this list. He's one of the greatest actors.
Brando's good.
We haven't, Paul Newman, we couldn't decide on. He's one. So it's just because they're great actors doesn't mean they're going to make this list. So Kate Winslet.
Okay.
For the win.
Cool.
Okay. All right. This 2010s actresses was my hardest one to narrow down.
Okay.
So I'm going to throw out the ones I considered, but these are not my top picks.
Love it.
Okay. Nicole Kidman. She's been doing a ton, right? Lion, Bombshell, Killing a Sacred Deer I Didn't See. She's also been doing a ton of, Destroyer is another great one. If you haven't seen Destroyer, if you want to see Nicole Kidman just play a woman who is a wreck, see Destroyer. It's an amazing performance.
Okay.
Like, she's playing a cop with literally nothing to lose and destroying herself in that process.
Okay.
She's great. Natalie Portman. I mean, she's in Annihilation, which is one of my favorite movies of this decade. Yeah. I know.
Really strong performance in Jackie and Black Swan.
Yep, Jackie Black Swan. Yeah. Jessica Chastain is doing a lot in the 2010s. She's in The Help. She's in Zero Dark 30. Tree of Life. Amy Adams, right? She's in Arrival. She's in what's that David O. Russell movie?
American
American
Hustle?
Hustle.
Yep.
Yep. Emma Stone. I mean, she blew up in the 2010s. Carrie Mulligan, who you like.
Yeah. Yeah, she's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, she was in Drive. She was in Manchester by the Sea. Or that was Michelle Williams. My bad. Uh, I won't mention that one. Viola Davis, she started popping up in a lot of things in this decade, and every time I see her, whether it's in Widows, even in the first Suicide Squad movie, I like her in that. Jennifer Lawrence, I mean, obviously is Hunger Games, but she's also doing Mother. She was doing Winter's Bone. Like, to imagine the fact that she did Winter's Bone and Mother all in this decade is a
Yeah.
huge leap.
That's
Passengers.
wild.
And then Laura Dern, who we haven't really talked about yet. I think maybe she's just because she didn't have the body of work or the forward facing roles, in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. But Laura Dern has really started popping up in the 2010s for me also.
Mm-hmm.
But those are the ones I considered, but not the ones that made my list. Do you want to tell me the ones you considered?
Well, you mentioned a lot of the ones I considered.
Okay.
Saoirse Ronan is a personal favorite of mine.
Yep.
I really like her acting. But my top 3, also Margot Robbie.
Yep.
Is a consistent performer that I like. But my top 3 were ones that I think are not your top 3. It's Amy Adams, Jessica Chastain, and Emma Stone.
Oh man. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So my top 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's my top 6.
Okay.
I had 15 of these. The fact I got down to 6, I'm
Sure.
happy about.
Sure.
All right. Scarlett Johansson. Right. In the 2000s, forget Marvel. Just take Marvel out of your minds.
Okay.
Jojo Rabbit, Her, Marriage Story, Isle of Dogs, Under the Skin, Hail Caesar, Jungle Book, Chef. That's strong.
Those are strong films. I don't know if I care about half those performances.
Okay.
But
what about Emily Blunt?
she's definitely one of the faces of 2010s.
Yeah. I mean, we're like Quiet Place, Sicario, Edge of Tomorrow, Looper, Mary Poppins Returns, Girl on the Train, Adjustment Bureau, a movie I like. It's got its flaws.
Yeah, that's a great pick. She has a good shot.
I'm surprised you glossed over Margot Robbie.
Yeah, Margot Robbie in I, Tonya is so different than Margot Robbie in Wolf of Wall Street, you know?
Focus.
Yeah, she's so charming in Focus.
I mean, and she's become the face of the DC universe.
Yeah.
Saoirse Ronan, I thought would be high on your list.
Well, I think she's an incredible actress, right?
Yep.
And I like her better in Mary Queen of Scots than Margot Robbie. Little Women, she's one of an ensemble of great actresses. I think Florence Pugh I like her a little bit better than Saoirse Ronan in Little Women. She's fantastic in Brooklyn. She's good in Lady Bird. So yeah, Saoirse Ronan is in the conversation.
Brie Larson, I mean, she has some of the best she's got a lot going on in the 2010s, but Room, Short Term 12, and Spectacular Now are 3 incredible performances and incredible movies.
Yeah.
But you're gonna have a hard time talking me out of this one.
Charlize
Theron, and not okay. Let me make an actual case for Charlize Theron, and not just because I'm a fanboy.
You're such a fanboy.
I know I am. I am. But I also think she's an incredible actress. It's not just like, oh, she's Charlize Theron. All right. Mad Max Fury Road. Movie should have been called Furiosa, right? I mean, like, she is that movie.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you see Atomic Blonde?
Yes.
I think she is, like, people are expecting John Wick when they saw Atomic Blonde, and they got some John Wick elements to it, but then they're also getting like this 80s, neon spy thriller. Such a cool movie. Have you seen Tully?
No, I haven't.
I've never seen a movie that has captured what it's like to be a new parent or a parent of an infant as effectively as Tully. Like both her performance, that movie, I watched that and said, "Oh, this whoever wrote this movie knew what it's like to be a new parent without making it too heavy, right? It's not a dour movie, but like so effectively brought that in. Bombshell, where she's playing Megan Kelly, like literally disappeared into that role. Young adult. I know people don't like young adults because the character she plays is such an abrasive character, but that's kind of what broke her out for me as being like, oh, Charlize Theron's doing something a little bit different than what I'm expecting from her. And then Long Shot. Long Shot's a hilarious rom-com movie, and she can do comedy. Like she is not letting people be funny around her. She's being funny with people like Seth Rogen.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a tough one because so that's probably your number one pick, right?
That's my number one pick.
Yeah, that's tough because for me, I haven't seen Tully. I know that's a good performance. She's great in Bombshell. She absolutely does become Megan Kelly. And Furiosa, for sure. That's a great performance too. But besides Furiosa, I don't know if I get excited about any of her other things. She's in Prometheus, Snow White and the Huntsman.
Have you seen Snow White and the Huntsman?
No.
Oh my God. Okay. She is.
You just love Charlize Theron. So it's like an instant 3 points.
She is chewing the scenery in that movie. So she's having so much fun being whatever the queen is from the Snow White story. I can't even think of that queen's name off the top of my head. Maleficent.
No, she's not Maleficent.
No,
that's Angelina Jolie.
Okay, she's not Maleficent. She's just the evil queen. What's her name? I don't even know what the queen's name is in Snow White.
I don't know. The Wicked Stepmother.
No, it's not the Wicked Stepmother. That's Cinderella. Anyway, she is
Ravenna.
She is having a blast in that movie. Like she is by far the best part. You also have Bob Hoskins as a dwarf. That's kind of weird in that movie.
Yeah.
And Kristen Stewart has not figured out who she is yet as an actress in The Huntsman. I think Chris Hemsworth's in there too as just a guy.
You could make an argument that Kristen Stewart could win this decade. Just for her indie work alone.
Right. That's a very good point. Yeah. Okay. Enough on Charlize Theron. I don't know if I'm going to convince you. So you may need to work on convincing me on. So is Charlize off the table? If she's off the table,
I won't completely
end this
take
podcast right now.
No, I won't completely take her off the table.
Okay.
But for me, I don't think Furiosa is enough to make her win this. And I just haven't seen Tully. And Atomic Blonde is fine, but it's an action movie that's like I couldn't tell you 3 things about her character. Could you tell me 3 things about her character?
Yeah, she is a potential double agent Russian spy. She uses sex to get what she needs from people. And she is an incredible fighter who can last a 10-minute long fight and then drive away in a car. And this is not like a 10-minute long Tom Cruise fight where everyone's happy and fine afterwards. It is like a 10-minute brutal fight. How fights actually would be. It's like watching the fight from They Live, where it's like they are still fighting.
Yeah, that's a knock 'em drag out for sure.
Exactly. And you haven't seen Young Adult either?
No.
So I think that's the problem. I don't think you've seen some of her best performances. I mean, obviously you've seen Furiosa. I get what you're saying on Prometheus. Bombshell. I get it. I really think if I was to do her top 3 from this decade, it would be Furiosa, Tully, and Young Adult.
Yeah. I know these were not on your short list, so maybe these all had to be cut as well. But let me just make a case for Amy Adams, Jessica Chastain, and Emma Stone. Okay. Amy Adams is such a thoughtful actress. Like she approaches her craft, I think, with a lot of care and gives incredible performances, right? So Nocturnal Animals is a movie I really want to highlight. She's incredible in Nocturnal Animals.
Okay.
I rewatched Arrival recently, and she's so good at Arrival. And that's a movie that like completely depends on her, right? She is 100% that film. And she carries it so well. She has to balance like having us care about her with also having her be incredibly depressed the whole time, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Um she's great in her little role in Her. She's great in The Master. I just think Amy Adams is a talented actress, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Emma Stone. Emma Stone, I think, is one of our little national gems. You know?
Yeah.
Like she's so charming in movies like Easy A, um, and La La Land. And then you put her in a movie like The Favorite, and she's acting her heart out, and she's so sinister in that film. And I just think she has incredible range, and she's just very talented, right? I think you could put her in any movie, and I think she'll do a good job.
Mm-hmm.
If I were alone in this, I would pick Jessica Chastain to win.
Okay, and tell me why Jessica Chastain.
I think she's I think she's one of the best actresses working today.
Mm-hmm.
I think she approaches every role where I think she approaches every role as if she has like uh true compassion for her characters. Like she becomes her character. She can find the motivation behind each of her characters. So Zero Dark 30 for one, right? Her character is so different in Zero Dark 30
Mm-hmm.
than in Interstellar. I mean, it's just night and day. In Molly's Game, she is so. Have you seen Molly's Game?
I have not. No.
That's a fun movie to watch. I think you'll enjoy it.
Okay.
But she's incredible in it. Interstellar and The Help. I will see every Jessica Chastain movie until she does me wrong. Um, and then Margot Robbie and Saoirse Ronan have had really good movies lately.
They have, yeah. Yeah, Margot Robbie, she, she gives so much range too. Like you look at every role she does, and each one is different.
And I feel like we haven't even scratched the surface. I feel like she has a lot more that she can give us.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, and if we're looking at up and coming, I mean,
Yeah.
she's got a long way to go.
Like Charlize Theron, I think we've seen the many sides of Charlize. I
Yeah.
don't know if she's going to come out with a role we've never seen that side of her.
I think Tully surprised a lot of people.
Okay.
Because I mean, here is a woman who was, I think she has to be 50. So maybe she was in her late 40s in that movie. Playing a mom, which is, not something that we usually see from actresses of that age. Like by the time you get to that age, you're the grandmother. So I think Tully surprised people. And I think, Atomic Blonde was definitely her wanting to jump into the action realm after doing Furiosa. But I agree. I'm looking forward to whatever she does next. I don't know if I'm gonna see new things from her though.
Yeah.
So I agree with your statement there. I need to cut Amy Adams.
Okay. And why is that?
Well, when I look at her filmography, the only one that stands out to me is Arrival, followed by American Hustle. I do not remember her in Her. When I think of her, I think of Joaquin Phoenix and Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, she's a minor character, a
Yeah.
neighbor.
I have not seen Nocturnal Animals, so that
Yeah.
I can't count that. I'm throwing out Marvel DC franchise movies because they're just different things. I'm not
Okay.
considering those.
Okay.
Haven't seen The Fighter, haven't seen Vice, and I honestly am pretty mixed on The Master. I think when we
Okay.
did our PTA rank, it was kind of in the middle for me.
Okay.
So,
so between Jessica Chastain and Emma Stone, who are you throwing out?
Between Jessica Chastain and Emma Stone, man, I mean, Emma Stone's got La La Land, Birdman, Favorite, Easy A, Crazy Stupid Love, Zombieland, The Help, which are all great performances from her. Just incredible. And I love Zero Dark 30. I think I'm going to throw out Jessica Chastain. That's a
Okay.
really tough one to choose.
All right. So Emma Stone, of those three, Emma Stone survived.
Yep.
Now between Margot Robbie and Saoirse Ronan, who are you throwing out?
Oh, man. Okay, so Margot Robbie, we've got
Wolf of Wall Street,
Wolf of Wall Street.
all the Harley Quinn stuff.
Yep.
I, Tonya, Bombshell, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Mary Queen of Scots,
Mm-hmm. And what is Saoirse giving us?
Focus, Christopher Robin. Saoirse gives us Hannah, Grand Budapest Hotel, Brooklyn, Lady Bird, Mary Queen of Scots, Little Women.
Ooh, I think I'm going to toss Saoirse.
Really?
I think so.
Okay.
Just because Robbie's giving us a little bit more range, and maybe because she's a little bit older than Saoirse Ronan, so she has the opportunity.
Man, I would definitely pick Saoirse, I think. But if you want to throw her out,
you would pick Saoirse over Robbie?
I would.
Okay, then let's do that because I'm kind of they're almost 50-50. So if you let's do that. Let's throw out Robbie. Let's keep Saoirse.
Okay, so if we have four left, Charlize Theron, Emma Stone, Saoirse Ronan, and don't forget about Natalie Portman.
I thought you were going to choose Natalie Portman. That's why I kind of glossed over her.
I'm not necessarily against her because Black Swan's pretty incredible. Jackie's good. And her performance in Annihilation's good. I mean, I don't like that movie, but her performance is really good.
Okay. She also has like some not so great. Like, I mean, I haven't seen Vox Lux.
I haven't either.
Okay. What else was she doing in this? I'm just trying to see, is she better than those other roles? I guess my problem with Natalie Portman is we're basing off of 3 movies: Black Swan, Annihilation, Jackie.
Yeah, good call.
Where Saoirse Ronan, we've got a half a dozen. You know, Charlize Theron, we have at least I've got a bunch. Emma Stone, we have a bunch we can agree on. So I would be okay cutting Natalie Portman.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't feel like picking Charlize. I know she's absolutely your favorite, but I think that is biasing you a little bit.
Well, thank you for listening to this episode 2. Okay, all right.
I personally think it should be between Emma Stone and Saoirse Ronan.
Well, if Zach says so.
No, but what do you think? Who do you think it should be between?
I understand that you have not seen enough of Charlize Theron to appreciate. You're just not there yet, and that's okay.
Plus, half the roles I just didn't think were that special.
Because you're not there yet. So we can.
My favorite performance by her was in the TV show. What's the Bluth family TV show?
Arrested Development.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Yeah, Mr. F.
Yeah.
I love. Yeah, it's again blew up in the 2000s.
Yeah.
All right. Well, she and Paul Newman can just go hang out on my island. All right, we're down to Saoirse Ronan and Emma Stone, and when I look at these 2 lists, and I think both whose movies do I like better, whose performance do I like better, and who is more the face of this decade, it's Emma Stone.
Yeah. Do you feel good about picking her?
I mean, I do, just because your top 3 are La La Land, Birdman, and The Favorite.
Yeah.
And even though Birdman I have my issues with, Emma Stone is not one of my issues, minus her face at the very end.
Yeah. All right, let's go with her.
Wow, I did not see that coming.
No, I didn't either. That's not who I would have picked alone.
Who would you have picked alone?
Jessica Chastain.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen enough.
Go watch Molly's Game.
Okay.
Go watch, especially you like Zero Dark 30.
I do like Zero Dark 30, yeah.
Okay. We just have to do the guys and then we're done.
Oh, wow. I can't believe we're here.
Yeah. I'll go through my short list.
Go for it.
Joaquin Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
Super good in The Master. Super good in Her. Super good in Inherent Vice. Jake Gyllenhaal. Consistently a fun actor to watch. Source Code, Nightcrawler, Nocturnal Animals. He's good in Prisoners. Not fun to watch.
No.
Ryan Gosling. Blue
Yep.
Valentine, he's awesome. Drive, he's great. The Place Beyond the Pines, we don't talk about a lot, but he's great. The Big Short, he's great in La La Land. He's great in Blade Runner 2049. Leonardo DiCaprio,
He's back.
yes, he's back with Wolf of Wall Street, The Revenant, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Django Unchained, and The Great Gatsby. And then Robert Downey Jr.
Okay.
I'm throwing in here, not he's the best actor, but when you're talking about the 2010s, he is like the face of the 2010s. You know,
And he's Iron Man.
Iron Man, Sherlock Holmes. You know, he begins and ends the whole Marvel saga, right?
Mhm.
So, but he's not the best actor. So, and then I also really like Tom Hardy.
Yeah. All right. So here is we definitely have some overlap here.
Okay.
Those are kind of your contenders, but not your top picks.
Oh, by the way, can I mention?
Yeah.
We totally forgot to re-mention Emily Blunt, but she could have won that.
Oh, do we have to go back?
Well, what do you think? Emily Blunt or Emma Stone?
Oh no. I thought you cut Emily Blunt.
No, I just forgot about Emily Blunt.
Oh no.
Who do you like? Emily Blunt or Emma Stone?
I like Emily Blunt. Just personally, I like Emily Blunt better. Like Charlize Theron's number 1, Emily Blunt's number 2.
Let me look at her movies real quick.
Okay.
Emily Blunt's got Romeo and Juliet.
Okay, let's look again because
okay, she's got here's the movies that I think are great performances: Edge of Tomorrow, Sicario, The Girl on the Train, A Quiet Place. Those are the ones I get excited about. I don't care about Mary Poppins Returns.
Okay. You don't like Looper.
No, but she's good in Looper.
Adjustment Bureau.
I liked her in that. And yeah, she's a great actress.
She is.
I could do if you would really, really want to switch, I'm fine with that. If you don't care that much, I'd stick with Emma Stone.
I feel good about Emma Stone.
Okay.
Yeah, I really do.
Okay. Great. Back to actors.
We're picking second place anyway here, so it's fine. Back to actors. Okay. All right. So yeah, I also had Joaquin Phoenix, Leonardo DiCaprio, Ryan Gosling. I'm just gonna list all mine. How's that sound?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So yeah, Joaquin Phoenix. What's he in? He is in Her. He's in Joker, which I got mixed feelings on. He's not a Gladiator, not in that year. He's in The Master. He's good in The Master. You Will Never Really Hear. I really liked him in that. Inherent Vice. Leonardo DiCaprio, you mentioned. Ryan Gosling is doing La La Land. He's doing Blade Runner, Drive, Big Short, The Nice Guys. Tell me who your top ones are, and then I'll throw some in here.
Okay, my top, I think, is Ryan Gosling and Joaquin Phoenix.
Ryan Gosling and Joaquin Phoenix.
I think.
Okay.
Maybe Leo as well.
What about Brad Pitt?
Yeah, talk to me about what's Brad Pitt doing.
What is Brad Pitt doing? Brad Pitt's doing Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, The Big Short, 12 Years a Slave, Ad Astra, The Tree of Life, Moneyball, Fury, Killing Them Softly, Allied.
He's amazing in Allied. He's amazing in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He's really good in a lot of these.
Okay.
Yeah, really good.
Have we talked to Leo yet?
You know, I mentioned him. I mentioned some of his films. He's doing awesome in the 2010s.
Yeah. My only problem with Leo in the 2010s is he's trying real hard.
I know. He's going for that Oscar is the thing.
Yeah.
So it almost feels forced.
Yeah, like Inception, I think he's just giving a good performance.
Yeah.
In Django, he's having fun. He didn't win for Wolf of Wall Street, but he should have.
It's what I like about Ryan Gosling is he's not going for an Oscar. He's just spitting out really great performances.
Right. Like I said, La La Land, Blade Runner 2049, Drive, Nice Guys, Big Short, Crazy Stupid
First
Love
Man.
with Emma Stone, First Man, Blue Valentine, Place Beyond the Pines, Only
Yeah.
God Forgives.
Yeah.
I mean, interesting choices.
Mm-hmm.
There are a couple names you haven't mentioned yet. You mentioned Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
And I like that. You did not mention Daniel Kaluuya.
Okay.
Right. Get Out, Black Panther, Sicario, Judas and the Black Messiah. That might have been actually last year. That's not 2010s. Widows. So he may not have the body of work yet. Queen and Slim. But I think he's definitely a contender. I like what Tom Hardy was doing in the 2010s with Inception, with Mad Max Fury Road, Dunkirk, Revenant.
Locke is so good.
Yeah. Bane from Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
Best part of that movie. Warrior.
Mm-hmm.
Doing a lot in the 2010s.
Mm-hmm.
But my other big contender who you did not mention at all is Michael B. Jordan.
Oh, I love him. He's fantastic.
Yeah. So I've been ignoring Marvel movies for the most part. But he is the best Marvel villain we've had yet with Black Panther. Right? With the most range depth as a character. Creed, a reboot of the Rocky series, he makes work because I think he's the reason why that series works.
Yeah.
Chronicle, really like that movie. Fruitvale Station, he's playing. It's based on a true story. He's playing a guy who's coming to a tragic end, who is not the most sympathetic person.
Right.
But you still realize he doesn't deserve what happens to him, even though he's not a saint.
Yeah.
Right. So, but he does so well with that role. I liked him in Just Mercy, and that's about it what I've seen from him. So he's a strong contender for this decade.
He's a great actor. I just think he's starting out. I think next decade's going to be his decade.
Okay. So I agree on Joaquin Phoenix. I agree on Ryan Gosling.
All right, can we kick off Jake Gyllenhaal?
Yeah, he's on my short list. He's on my long list, but I'm fine with that.
Okay, so am I looking at Ryan Gosling, Joaquin Phoenix, Brad Pitt, and Leonardo DiCaprio?
What about Tom Hardy?
And Tom Hardy? Okay, so those are our 5 left.
Yes.
Okay. So let's get rid of some.
Go ahead.
Let's get rid of some. Who are you getting rid of?
I could kick Leo just for the reasons we said before.
Okay. I'm fine with that.
Okay.
I know a lot of people are going to be upset at that, but I'm okay with that.
I like a lot of what he's doing, but like you also watch J. Edgar and you're like, man, you are trying real hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Joaquin has got to stay.
Okay.
Gosling's got to stay.
Gosling's got to stay.
Daniel Kaluuya, we're gonna cut for now.
I think so.
Okay. Tom Hardy, I'm having trouble cutting him.
Tom Hardy's he's one of my favorite actors.
Yeah.
He's always interesting.
Yep. He's always doing something. I mean, even Venom. Like I like Venom. It's got its flaws, but when he and Venom are on screen, it's so much fun.
I still haven't caught up with Venom yet.
It's not a good movie. I don't want you to think like you'll be blown away, but like you're gonna see Tom Hardy doing something interesting.
Sure. Man. Yeah, this is tough because okay,
And then
so yeah.
Brad Pitt, I mean, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Big Short, 12 Years a Slave, Ad Astra, Tree of Life, Moneyball. We listed all these already.
Yeah.
This
is really tough
like
for me.
I would take Brad Pitt over Leo. That's why I cut Leo.
Yeah, I would take Brad Pitt over Leo for
Okay.
sure. I would.
All right. What about so Michael B. Jordan? We're cutting also.
I think so.
Okay.
I mean, just compared to like what these other actors gave us,
Mm-hmm.
Some is on par, and some is just not quite there yet.
Oh man.
Let's do this. What is each actor's best performance?
Okay.
Or how about this? How many 5 out of 5 performances do they have from this decade?
How many 5? Okay, let me see if
So
I can rank these.
Some Tom Hardy. What are his 5 out of 5 performances?
I would say Bane,
Bane.
his character in Revenant.
Yeah. It's a little bit smaller role, but yeah.
Yeah. His character in Warrior. I don't know if Mad Max is a 5 out of 5. Like the movie
Okay.
is a 5 out of 5. I don't know if his Mad Max is a 5 out of 5.
It's kind of his movie in a way. I mean, I know Furiosa is in it, but it follows him.
Yeah.
I know you haven't seen it yet, but Locke is a 5 out of 5 performance.
Okay, I haven't seen Locke. That's the one where he's driving in a car, right?
Yeah. It's only him. He's the only person in the film.
Okay. Yeah, so I would say for me, Bane, Revenant, and Warrior are his 5 out of 5 performances.
Sure. And you'll just have to trust me that Locke is in there too.
I will trust you that Locke is in there.
For Joaquin, what are his 5 out of 5? The
man.
Master is a perfect performance.
I'll give you the Master. I think he's incredible in You Were Never Really Here.
Okay.
Have you seen that one?
I haven't.
That is it's like Taxi Driver without glorifying Travis Bickle.
Okay.
It's sort of I don't know. It's a modern Taxi Driver. It's the simplest way to do it. It's more to it than that.
For me, the Joker performance is too much.
Okay.
I think he's trying too hard in the Joker performance for me to love it.
And you don't like Inherent Vice either, do you?
No, I do. I like Inherent Vice.
You do like was it James? Okay, I thought you didn't like Inherent Vice.
No, James doesn't like it. But I do think he's incredible in Her. I think he plays against type. That's not how I see Joaquin Phoenix at all.
Yeah, he's gentle in Her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Ryan, we haven't really talked about Ryan Gosling. We keep mentioning his name, but we haven't talked about his movies yet.
I think I'm dancing around him because I want him to win this. Blue Valentine is I love that he like can do these indie movies and these huge blockbuster movies. He's so good at Blue Valentine and Drive. He's like the heart of that film. Same Place Beyond the Pines is really good. La La Land. That's a nuanced performance. I like that. Blade Runner, First Man. It's just really, I can depend on Ryan Gosling to give me a good performance.
Is Ryan Gosling your number 1?
I think so.
Who's your number 2?
Man, maybe. So I would say this. Tom Hardy is one of my absolute favorite actors.
Yep.
But I'm kind of leaning towards Brad Pitt as my number 2. Because I think he's great in Tree of Life. He's great in Allied. He's great in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And he's great in Ad Astra.
I think we should pit Ryan Gosling with Brad Pitt.
You okay getting rid of Joaquin and Tom Hardy?
I'm okay getting rid of Joaquin and Tom Hardy. I think we gave him a very fair shake.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
We don't have no Emily Blunts out there we forgot about?
Probably. No one even mentioned Matthew McConaughey.
Or Lakeith Stanfield.
Yeah.
Okay.
So be it.
Brad Pitt versus Ryan Gosling.
Not a mention of Michael Fassbender.
I considered him and I looked at his movies and nothing blew me away.
Okay.
Like even though he's a household name, say for Benedict Cumberbatch. I looked at him. I was like,
I don't care.
Okay. Good.
About Benedict Cumberbatch these days. Okay, so Ryan Gosling and Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt, yeah.
I want to know what you think. Which one are you leaning towards?
So if I was to pick of all the performances between these two, my absolute favorite would have to be Brad Pitt in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Okay. He's my favorite part of that movie.
Yeah. I mean, effortless in that movie. My number 2 performance, it's either Blade Runner 2049 or Drive. So Ryan Gosling's got maybe number 2 and 3.
Interesting, yeah.
Yeah. I'm not as hot on La La Land as you and James are, but
Right.
I gave Emma Stone best. What if we gave Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone best actor actress? Like, how
It might
2010s is that?
it might be meant to be.
It might be meant to be. And
I'll
they're
I'll,
also in Crazy Stupid Love together.
I'll say this.
Okay.
I think he's good in all the films that we've mentioned for Brad Pitt. But my favorite thing about Tree of Life is the cinematography
Yep.
and the direction.
Yep.
Not necessarily his performance, although it's great. 12 Years a Slave, he's not the reason I love that movie.
No.
Allied, I really like the plot
Mhm.
of Allied more than any individual performance. With Ad Astra, I like the world building probably more than any individual performance. Once Upon a Time with the West, he's my favorite part of that film, but it's a film I don't even like that much. Whereas Ryan Gosling, I think I'm just consistently impressed by him.
Mhm.
So I'm leaning to Ryan Gosling.
Let's see, Ryan Gosling. I like him in Nice Guys. I mean, I would say he and Brad Pitt cancel each other out in Big Short.
Okay.
Yeah, they're both great in that. I mean, Ryan Gosling, he's picking some interesting things in the 2010s. Like Place Beyond the Pines, interesting movie. He's only about a third of it, but he's playing a completely different character.
Yeah.
Only God Forgives. I know it's a very divisive movie. But again, I would say that Ryan Gosling is doing more interesting things in the 2010s than Brad Pitt.
Yeah. Do you want to are you feel good about Ryan? I know it's Ryan and Emma.
I know. Can't believe we're doing that. All right, let's go back and retrade Emily Blunt out. No.
How do you feel about it?
I mean, I guess I had Brad Pitt coming in as my number one seed.
Okay.
And you had Ryan Gosling coming in as your number one seed.
I did. I could go either way.
Yeah.
I could go either way.
I want to give this one to Brad Pitt.
You want to give it to Brad?
I want to give it to Brad.
He doesn't have enough already in this world?
Well, you say you go either way.
I'm just kidding. We can go Brad Pitt.
Are you okay with that?
I like Ryan Gosling. He's good. If Blue Valentine wasn't on this list, if it started at Drive, I would go Brad Pitt.
See, here's the thing. I haven't seen Blue Valentine.
Why not?
It looks super depressing.
It's not depressing.
I think I confuse that one with Rabbit Hole. Which is
Rabbit Hole looks really depressing.
Nicole Kidman and Aaron Eckhart one.
Yeah.
But isn't Blue Valentine about a breakup or something?
Yeah, it's also about the start of a relationship.
Yeah, I guess, so it's not as depressing as the death of a child, I guess. But
yeah. Okay, you want to do Brad Pitt? He gave some solid performances.
I want to do Brad Pitt. Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Done.
All right.
Done.
Okay, so we did it.
Yeah.
Did you? And you marked these all down, correct?
Yeah.
Do you want to do a quick recap of?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, all right, go for it.
The 1920s is Buster Keaton and Bridget Helm.
Mm-hmm.
The 1930s, Clark Gable and Olivia de Havilland. The 1940s is Humphrey Bogart and Ingrid Bergman.
Nice.
The 1950s is Jimmy Stewart and Grace Kelly. The 1960s, Sidney Poitier and Audrey Hepburn. The 1970s is Robert De Niro and Diane Keaton. The 1980s is Harrison Ford and Sigourney Weaver.
Mm-hmm.
The 1990s is Tom Hanks and Jodie Foster. The 1920s, the 2000s are George Clooney and Kate Winslet. And the 2010s, Brad Pitt and Emma Stone.
Nice.
It's so funny. A lot of these could have gone very different ways.
Oh yeah, I definitely think that we didn't always get either of our number ones.
Yeah.
Going into this, and I didn't always have a number one. Sometimes I just had like, here's the 4 I could consider.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, what we're really curious about is if you're listening and we missed someone or we're crazy for picking someone over someone else, let us know. We would love to know if you want to email the show at heyguys@cinereelists.com.
I imagine we'll be getting emails about Walking Phoenix for sure. And Leo.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Leo from probably 2 or 3 different decades.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And all you Charlize Theron fans out there, please write it and tell Zach how wrong he is. We gotta settle for Emma Stone.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, thank you everyone for listening to this episode of the Cinereelists. We appreciate your listenership. Like I said, we would love it if you would email the show at heyguys@cinereelists.com. You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter and Letterboxd, and James started a TikTok for some reason. And we're
Has he
at
posted on that
Cinereelists.
at all?
I do not think so, no.
Okay.
Yeah, you can follow me personally on Twitter and Letterboxd at Shaban.
You can find me on Letterboxd at Peter SKB.
And I don't know what we're talking about next week.
I don't think we've decided yet what we're talking about next week.
Yeah, isn't Top Gun coming out?
I thought that was in May.
Okay. I've just started seeing promotions for it all of a sudden.
I want to say Sonic is coming out soon. So I know Sonic is in our near future.
Yeah, I think we'll be talking about Sonic when it comes out. So
correct.
We'll see. Whatever we're talking about, that'll just have to be up in the air.
Yep.
Yeah. And until then, guys, keep it cinereal.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.